It's a mistake. It needs to be called mistake steak. Lord, I need breakfast, and I've got avocados that I need to eat, and there is so much shit going on. Why does everything happen on the weekend? I swear to God. I don't pick the news picks me, and everything goes down on the weekend. I'm like, I'm going to sleep in and relax. And then I get on my phone when I wake up, and I'm like, oh my God, the world's on fire. I got to go. I ran, jumped in the shower, brushed my teeth, got a cup of coffee in me, and started making the drive to the city. Yeah. So, there's a lot going on. Shit's wild. I just be like, I told y'all last year. I said it. I said when Trump wins the election, shit's gonna start coming to fruition. I said, watch how we find out about all the secrets and mistakes and the mishaps that the left has made while in office for the past 4 years. And look at what's happening. Shit's just coming out left and right. COVID did come out of a lab. Ooh, interesting. We're not conspiracy theorists anymore. The Black Hawk helicopter pilot was a DEI hire. Ooh, no fucking way. Y'all know how I feel about them DEI programs. And I just feel like it's extremely careless to hire someone that puts everyone in danger. First of all, this Black Hawk pilot, and I know there's been 2 plane crashes in like 2 days. I know. I'm talking about at Reagan International Airport, there was a Black Hawk helicopter with 3 military crew aboard. It crashed. That copter, let's be clear, because I just need this to be in history, okay? Because I see shit already turning a certain way, and it's like, well, nope, that's what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is allow the media to brainwash us and rewrite history. So let's get the facts straight right now. First of all, her name was Rebecca. She was also flying with a co-pilot. He had approximately 1,000 hours in the air. She had approximately 500 hours in the air, which is not extremely experienced. It's like, ooh, I've flown a little. Those Black Hawk copters, the way that they are set up, those pilots that are piloting the plane, they only have about, I think, a 160 to a 180 aerial view. They can't do this number. There's literal blind spots. There's blind spots in the plane. That is why they are supposed to have more crew members than they had. For some reason, this was supposed to be some training operation, but they broke protocol out the ass. They didn't have the crew that they were supposed to have. They were flying when they weren't supposed to fly. They were at elevation that was too high. I can keep going. I would have to go through my notes, but while I'm driving, I just want to be clear that the Black Hawk helicopter was not meeting protocol. Okay? And a combination of things made this crash happen. She flew directly into the airline's flight. And it's unfortunate, but I already see what the media is trying to do. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. She was on the left. She actually was pretty active in the LGBTQ+. She, went to events, and a lot of her personal friends were involved on the left, and there's, pictures of this. If I can remember, I can post some today on my community post. But what it is appearing is that it was a combination of failed steps and protocol that was broken that led to this disaster. And I just want to be clear about that. She was not experienced enough to be flying at night with missing a crew member 200 feet above elevation. There's so many things that went wrong that contributed to all of those people on the airlines losing their lives. And the fact is when we hire people based off of looks instead of qualifications, these types of things are going to keep happening. Now, I'm not saying it's all this girl's fault, but one thing is for sure, she shouldn't have been in that plane. 28 years old. They have lowered military standards, and we're going to get into that in a minute. We're going to grab breakfast, and I'm going to open my computer. The lowering of military standards has led to a lot of military personnel being killed, in recent years. The lowering of standards, it puts everybody in a vulnerable position when people are not qualified to be in the position that they're holding it. It can put everybody in danger. I understand that the military in recent years has been desperate for military recruits because recruitment is way down. Gee, I wonder why. Look at how you treat them. You treat the military like shit. Everybody does. They get spit on, kicked on. Look at our veterans. Who wants to join the military when all systems are broken, nobody's being respected, and nobody can survive, Like, it's just crazy to me how we treat our military. And then the military has to lower the standards, putting everybody at risk. They've continuously lowered the standards so that they can take on more recruits. And let's just think about this from an IQ point. Because apparently, it's not very hard to join the military anymore. I just don't think that we need borderline, potentially handicapped people joining the service. Think about what I'm telling you right now. If they listen, I passed the ASVAB when I was 18, 20 years ago almost, and it was extremely hard back then, and I didn't even think I was going to pass it. Fuck, my recruiter, nobody thought I was going to pass it, and I passed it, and it was a miracle, and I should have went to the fucking military. Listen, this is why I talk about these things, because sometimes you only get opportunities in life once. It wasn't 2 weeks later I was in prison. I was in jail for felony charges for attempted murder. I could have went to that recruitment and fucking signed those papers and been on a fucking ship or something. And my life would have went in a whole different direction. Because of that missed opportunity, that is why I talk about these things. Sometimes you miss your calling. Sometimes you miss opportunities. But I'm here to tell you that test ain't what it was 20 years ago. And we're gonna talk about these standards in a second. I didn't look up these military standards because someone that I know that is active duty to me that she said that they raised the age for you to enlist. You can enlist now like almost 40 years old. And it might be 42. She told me and I forgot. We can look into that. And I was like, no way. So I went and looked at more military standards, and y'all, the type of recruits that we are accepting in the military is unacceptable, and this is why things are going south so quickly.
Thank you for choosing Burger King. What can I get for you?
Yes, ma'am. Can I try, what comes in the breakfast burrito?
It goes with 2 eggs, 6 hash brown, with cheese, bacon, or sausage.
Okay.
Spicy sauce.
I'll do that.
Eggs. You want the egg normals?
Yeah, the breakfast burrito junior with bacon. Sounds good.
All right.
And can I also do a small black coffee? Thank you.
You want cream and sugar on the side of the coffee?
No, thank you.
All right, and to start off for you,
Yes, ma'am.
that'll be $3.83 and 50 windows.
Thank you. Does anybody else get anxiety about saying yes, ma'am, and yes, sir nowadays because of all this crazy shit? Like, I'm trying to be respectful, and I forget you can't say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir no more. It's like you can't say Merry Christmas. Lord, what is the world coming to? Good morning, y'all. Hey, Andrea. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, when I get my computer open, McDonald's is right here next to Burger King. Um, that's a great question. I got in a fist fight with 2 girls when I was 18. I was defending my best guy friend from elementary, middle, and high school. Well, it was actually that elementary and middle school. His name was Joel, and we grew up together. And I don't know, I was a streets kid. I was living on the streets. Sometimes I would rent a room from my friend who had a big house. And it was an old 1940s rundown mayor's house, city of Graham. It was a shithole, you guys. It was a huge house, and I'm sure it was beautiful in the 1920s or 40s. But, you know, when you got kids living in a party house like that, it's disastrous. But anyways, I was staying there. I was renting a room at the time, and my friend Joel come over, said that he was at a house party and some girls had assaulted him. Good morning. Thank you. All right, coffee, y'all. And we got breakfast coming. Thanks. She got on blue pretty nail polish. So he comes over, he's like, this girl hit me, blah, 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 blah. And listen, I used to be a little badass. You mess with one of my friends, you was messing with me. And I would go to bat for you. And you can't be like that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there comes a point where you grow up and you isolate, you get away from people that are trying to pull you into bad activities. So anyways, I went over there and we got in a fight. And it went really bad. And I don't think that any of us intended for shit to go like that. I've seen one of the girls. Thank you. You have a good one. Thank you. There was a girl that I think it was in a Wendy's, and she like grabbed my hands and she's like crying and she's like, "Are you Heather?" And when she said that, it caught my attention because nobody calls me Heather. You know what I mean? I haven't used that name in 24 years. The reason I don't use that name because it's my, abuse name. That's what my parents called me. So it's my abuse name and I don't like it. So anyways, it's what my biological dad called me and stuff like that. It's just weird. I've never liked the name Heather anyway. So then there's that. So anyways, she says, "I'm so sorry that we got in this fight. I'm so sorry you did time in prison." And, there's a lot of mitigating circumstances that I've told you guys that both of these girls reported that a man attacked them. The SBI swore that it was me. So I did time for it. I've never seen, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, I was not there mentally. We were all drinking. We were all on drugs. And when situations go down like that and there's drugs and alcohol involved, nobody knows what fucking happens because everybody was drunk or it was high, and that's why I stay away from stuff like that, because now I don't have to worry about that. I know what happened last night. My ass went to bed last night. I woke up this morning and had coffee. You know what I mean? So that's part of the reason that I left that lifestyle and got myself on the right track, was because I just didn't want to have to deal with all of the drama and guessing games and toxicity that comes with that lifestyle. Yeah, so we got in a big fight. It was pretty bad. I've talked about that pretty extensively on this channel. How much was this? So this was $3.83, which is cheaper. I ain't been able to get breakfast for that cheap, but this burrito is really small. So it's tiny. He's just a little fella. He'll get the job done. $8.30. Brooke, my dyslexia. $3.83. $3.83. Y'all, did y'all see the priest that did the Roman salute? Oh, I got so much to tell y'all. Why does everything happen on the weekends? I was like, God, I want to save this, but I'll forget by Monday. I'll forget by tomorrow. Oh, Lord. It's funny because it's so true. All right, wow. You undo the package and it gets smaller. Look at my snack packs from last night. I was snacking in my sleep. Alright, let's do this. So I see egg. That egg is not bad. I want some sauce or something. They ain't got no salsa or nothing. Hey, I got some Taco Bell sauce. Clutch. Let's see. Mmm. Mmm. It's got hash browns. Hash browns, egg, bacon, cheese. Yeah, for real. I couldn't believe that. I said, not Hardee's out here ripping old people off. You know, people just don't realize. A lot of old people only eat at Hardee's for breakfast. They don't want to go to no damn First Watch or Waffle House. They've been eating Hardee's since them 40s. You know what I mean? So, like, that's their breakfast spot. I just feel like it's kind of scammy, man. That was expensive for nothing. Every been through there, it's been extremely expensive. 3 chicken tenders is almost $6. And, like, I know they're banging ass chicken tenders and they're breaded. That's just, I don't know. Those hash browns are good on there. They're soft and salty. The eggs are busting out the seam. That's what we like. Where is? $500 is not experienced. Why do they keep printing this shit? You know that there are commercial pilots that fly thousands of miles a year. That's an experienced pilot. I went and listened to AV experts on this. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, Burger King. Yeah. It's just crazy how they were doing this flight at night. There was multiple planes coming in, one into Reagan International. She confirmed that she saw one plane. I think left. She didn't see the damn plane in front of her. And to be clear, there was supposed to be additional military personnel on that plane. There was supposed to be another guy. Because of the lack of sight and visibility, because of the 180 that they have from the cockpit, there was supposed to be somebody else, you know. And listen, I'm no aviation expert myself, but it's interesting to me how they released. And let me just tell you what happened. So they initially released there was 2 men and 1 girl on the Black Hawk. They released the 2 men's name, but they refused to release Rebecca's name, who was the woman essentially flying. And, I mean, I don't know why. Then there was a whole bunch of controversy over another woman who was thought to have been flying. Her name is Jo Ellis. And this woman is active duty. She's been in the National Guard, Virginia National Guard. She was a female pilot. And she's transgender. And everybody thought that it was her that had, you know, been involved in this accident. And so she actually had to take to Facebook and post a proof of life video saying, hey, that was not me flying that helicopter, blah, 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 blah. Everybody thought that it was this woman, Jo Ellis, and it was not. Crazy. And it looks like the family of Rebecca was the one that wanted to, they didn't want to release her name. I mean, did you think that there was going to be controversy behind it? My damn computer. So that was her, 28 years old. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely racist. DEI programs are absolutely racist. You know, it's being said that, you know, I just want to talk a little bit about her history. So she was actually, they finally, yesterday, released the name of the third crew member of the Black Hawk helicopter that slammed into the American Airlines affiliated flight above the Potomac River this week, killing 67 people. It looks like they've recovered 41 bodies. They've only been able to identify around 20 of those bodies. Sad. Captain Rebecca Lobach was 28 years old, a native of Durham, North Carolina. Wow, she's from my home state. And graduated from UNC Chapel Hill. And what have I been saying about Chapel Hill for like 2 years? How many times have we been over Chapel Hill and their issues? Specifically, their education department and the hospital and mental health services. I can keep going. The University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill used to be one of the most prestigious medical schools in the country. And it's went down the drain with leftist ideology and propaganda. They are big farm, and they were one of the hospitals that was pushing gender-affirming care to make money. It's a $2 billion industry, and they're expecting that to grow like 13% by now in 2030. So there's money in being a transgender doctor, giving trans services, and UNC Chapel Hill was on the forefront of that fight for the past 5 years. This hospital, their education department, is pushing out leftist leaning students. Those students get there, they're normal students, and in a matter of just a few years, they're out here protesting and getting involved in LGBTQ plus rallies or marching for BLM, and it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know what is going on at the University of Chapel Hill, but if they don't get on board with the rest of North Carolina or the world, then I don't know what's going to happen to that hospital. It's devastating what's happened to that hospital. I was born at that hospital. When I was sick as a child, I went to that hospital. When I was molested as a child, they took me to that hospital. Like, I have a history with this hospital, and I used to have mad respect for UNC Chapel Hill. But in recent years, it's concerning the type of behavior and practices that they are involved in. And there's tons of, in my opinion, medical malpractice taking place in this hospital, in my opinion, specifically with their psychiatric services. So anyways, it looks like there was 2 other officers plus Rebecca, and one of them was 39. He was Andrew Eves, and he was a chief warrant officer. And then there was a crew member, Staff Sergeant Ryan O'Hara. Sorry, that messed me up. O'Hara. He was 28. So as you can see, everybody on this plane was under the age of maturity. And this is one of the reasons that I keep pulling this fact into play. Listen, we didn't even have a man on that plane that was at the age of approximate maturity, which is around 43 years of age. Her approximate age of maturity is 32. We don't even have a mature person on this goddamn this Hawk. Not one. These things absolutely matter. I'm going to insult anybody's intelligence by bringing IQ into this. But I mean, maturity into this. But it plays a huge part. That's all I'm saying. A huge part. There was one guy, the 39, Andrew Eves, actually had a career, if I'm not mistaken. He'd been in for like 10 years or something, maybe longer. He should have been the one that says, absolutely not. This plane is not leaving. We don't have enough crew. You're not experienced. It's dark. We're not even supposed to be doing this right now. Initially, Rebecca's family asked the Army to withhold her name for privacy. Such a move is unusual in such accidents or combat deaths. Interesting. Why would her... It's almost as if they knew. So it looks like Lobach had 500 hours flight time, as I said, considered normal, while Eves had 1,000 hours, deemed experienced. Whatever. I'm just going to let the news be the news. Listen, I'm not much about aviation, but I'm willing to bet that neither one of them should have been up there by themselves. I'm assuming, let's just give it a go. I'm assuming that an experienced pilot would be thousands of hours, like 2, 3, maybe even over 5. But that's only because I know how many jumps it takes to jump by yourself out of an airplane if you're doing it, if you're jumping out of an airplane. I know that you have to do that several times with an instructor, almost half a dozen if I'm not mistaken. And if you have to do that many times, I mean, how many hours you would have to have in the air to fly a Black Hawk helicopter. I just don't think that any of them should have been up there. How many hours does an experienced pilot have? Yo, I ain't even the Wi-Fi. What's wrong with me? It does. It breaks my heart too, because all of it, in my opinion, could have been prevented. If one adult would have stepped in and said, absolutely not. It's dark. We've got 10 planes coming into right now. Absolutely. I just think that, somebody should have stepped in and, listen, I just think that maturity, experience play a huge part in these things. And I'm not saying she made a rash, I'm not saying that she made a rash decision. I'm saying that you reach the age of maturity and you start doing things a little differently. And none of them made the choice to keep that helicopter on the ground, and they absolutely should have. So my computer's not wanting to work. I could have heard that I heard this commercial pilot say that it was like 15 to 2,500 hours would be experienced, but I could be wrong. I just don't feel like to confirm that. So let's get over here. And on 31st of January, the Army was flat out refusing to identify the female Black Hawk pilot killed in the DC collision. They flat out refused to release her name, but they released the men's names. It was so weird. There's a story behind that. I don't have it for you, but there's definitely a story behind that. So here's the other 2 victims. That appears to be, is that Andrew? Oh no, that's Ryan Austin O'Hara. And then this was the oldest man on board, and he was 39. And, yeah. He was the instructor pilot. But he only had 1,000 hours himself. I don't know. I don't know what the military standard is to deem somebody experienced and not. I don't know. But I do know that our standards have went down. I do know that. And we're going to get into that in a second. My computer is being stupid. It could be because they're doing, this McDonald's is under construction. So I'm going to read some of this. In the case of the tragic mid-air collision that took place in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, there's really no great mystery as to which aircraft was at fault. It's quite clearly the Army Black Hawk helicopter that was not where it was supposed to be. While it may be the case that the tower was not properly staffed or that the airport's resources are chronically overtaxed, neither of these things played a role in the crash that took the lives of 67 passengers and crew. Likewise, the pilots of the inbound Canada Air, regional jet operated by the American Airlines did nothing wrong. The plane was inbound to Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport's runway 1 from the south, a route that it took directly over the Potomac River, when it accepted a request from the control tower to instead curve around the right and land on a different runway, number 33. Depending on the pilot's frame of mind, this change could have been seen as either exciting or scary. Runway number 33 is short, so pilots must control their speed carefully to come up to a stop at the perfect time. The evening's gusty winds conditions would have increased this challenge. And someone commented in this article and said some pilots will flat out refuse to do this runway because it's such a challenging approach and it's a short runway. Some pilots just flat out refuse to even land on it. So it looks like after curving around the right, flight 5342 swung back around to the left and was perfectly lined up for runway 33 and its descent through 300 feet over the middle of the Potomac. Potomac? The flight crew had performed their mission flawlessly. So what this is saying is that the American Airlines crew, the American Airlines plane was descending perfectly. They were about to land. Everything was good. There was no mishaps. The pilot was acing it. So it appears that it was windy this night. I don't know if that played a part in the Black Hawk running into the airline, but to the American Airlines flight. But it does appear that it was very windy this night that it happened, and I think that that's something to take into consideration. The controller handling the aircraft in the Reagan Tower likewise didn't do anything wrong. He was keeping track of the Black Hawk as it flew south along the Potomac through a narrow corridor called Route 4 that passed well under the approach path for runway 33. So this bitch was too high. Lord have mercy. This is like the 5th time I've read, I haven't even read this, but this is the 5th time I've heard the same story. She was like 200 to 400 feet too high in the air, and that's what caused the crash. Seeing the plane and the helicopter were flying toward each other in opposite directions, the controller called the helicopter on the radio about 2 minutes before the accident occurred and asked if they had the plane in sight. The pilot replied in the affirmative and asked for a visual separation, meaning that they would take responsibility for staying clear of other aircraft. The tower granted it. Visual separation approved. There was multiple planes though, y'all. That's the problem. She did see a plane. She just didn't see the one in front of her. So, this means that at the moment of collision, the Black Hawk pilot accepted responsibility for what was about to happen. Unless some dramatic and frankly hard to imagine new information becomes readily available, there is little ambiguity as to who bears responsibility for the collision. Okay, so here we go. It remains unknown at this point how and why the pilot wound up off course, 100 feet above the maximum altitude where they were supposed to be, and 1,000 feet too close to the approach of the end of the runway 33. So this girl was like 1,000 feet too close to the runway where the American Airlines flight was coming in, and somehow these planes hit each other. There has been significant speculation around the possibility that when the Black Hawk pilot said that he had the CRJ in his sight, what he was actually referring to was a different aircraft, and that they never had a good visual on the flight 5342 before hitting it. I got chill bumps. And it says, or perhaps the pilot had become disoriented. I don't think anything like that happened. I think that this was, I think it was an accident. I don't think that the girl saw the plane, that the other pilot saw the plane. I think that it was a horrible, horrible accident. It does not help that, in my opinion, this plane should have never left the ground. This plane should have never left the ground. Why are we doing training missions at night, first of all? And why are there only 3 people when there's supposed to be multiple other people? Why is nobody, in my opinion, qualified like they're supposed to be? I mean, this is what happens when you lower military standards. We're seeing the effects of DEI play out before us. It's unfortunate. But I said last year this was going to happen. It can be impossible to know what's going on between a person's ears, especially after they're dead. Often the best... Wow, this damn article is brutal. Often the best that a crash investigator can do is help to find the cockpit voice recorder and hear what the pilot was saying in their final moments. And they do have the black box. It appears to be in good condition. It looks like they're going to be able to pull some kind of information off of that. That's what we're waiting on. Officials said the tower at Reagan National Airport alerted the Black Hawk to the presence of American Eagle Flight 5342 on 2 occasions. Once 2 minutes before the crash, and the second one 12 seconds before impact. What the fuck were they doing up there in that helicopter? Obviously not paying attention. You've been notified twice through air traffic control. I just don't understand. And I think that military standards and maturity play a huge part in this crash. First of all, I'm looking for part of an article that was talking about everything that the Black Hawk helicopter, how it wasn't supposed to be in the air. So give me a second. Good morning, Flutterby. President Trump's people been speaking at the White House briefing room on Thursday. The president said, I have helicopters. You can stop a helicopter very quickly. It had the ability to go up, down. It had the ability to turn. And the ability it made was not the correct turn, obviously. So it sounds like the White House is not going for this crash. They're not protecting their own. It sounds like they threw the Black Hawk under the bus. Which I don't really agree with, because it's the administration's fault for allowing wokeness to even get into our military. So, like, listen. It's crazy because someone said every one of those troops that was in that aircraft earned their place there, and they were the most highly trained military aviators in the world. Ain't that sad? Obviously not. 67 people died. It's just, isn't it fucking outrageous? Sometimes I can't believe half the shit I read. I'm like, is that saying what I think it says? Like, I gotta have a minute. My whole system, I start to glitch because it's so preposterous. I start to shut down mentally. Like, obviously not. Like, oh Lord. Let's talk about military standards, because they've been lowering it and lowering it and lowering it and lowering it and lowering it. And at this point, you could probably have an IQ of 65 and get in the military. And for those that don't know, that is mildly retarded. You can't tie your shoes, but you can operate heavy equipment, machinery, planes, trains, boats. That's a ship. I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not. The military has consistently, over the years, been lowering their standards in some areas, including physical fitness and recruitment, but that's not all. Give me a second. And I agree with this assessment. This is from Stars and Stripes. This is someone talking about how detrimental this was last year in 23, at the beginning of 23. They were talking about quality over quantity, and they were talking about how the army was lowering their how they were lowering their standards and how it was going to affect the military. And that it's dangerous. The Army's top general warned Wednesday that lowering entry recruitments and requirements for recruits is dangerous in the U.S. military. And you have to pass a physical exam, and you have to pass well, first of all, you take the ASVAB. You take a test first. If you pass that, then you can sign papers, and you have to pass the physical exam. So there's two parts to joining the military, and on a consistent basis, they have lowered the standards. First, you had to be able to run X amount of miles in X amount of time. Now, that's like a good 1/4 of what it used to be, so it's not like that anymore. Oh, another stalker. Another stalker. So it's not like that anymore. Now you don't have to run very far. Hold on. Oh, y'all. My computer. So just last year, to join the Army, a recruit must be between the ages of 17 and 35, medically and physically fit, and in a good moral standing. You sure about that? Whatever they say, honey. Whatever, we gonna let them, it's their lie. We'll let them. Woo! Further, they must be a high school graduate or the equivalent, and pass the Army placement exam known as the Armed Serviceable Aptitude Battery Test. Let me tell you why this is problematic. You see where it says equivalent? The GED test that they give now is so easily passed. You don't have to try very hard. People with very low IQ could pass the current GED test. It's been doctored to pass people along. The current GED test that we have it's not beneficial to people by any means. They have lowered the standards on the GED test, just like they lowered the standards on the military, because people are actually getting dumber. And it says equivalent. So it's not very hard to get in, knowing that the GED test that is current is not hard to pass. And a matter of fact, because of No Child Left Behind, they will just push them through and pass them more often than not, more than you would expect. There are people out here that have GEDs now that don't know how to read or write. It's sad. And those people can just join the military. When I say that it is a breakdown of all systems, it is a breakdown of all systems. We are not in a good place in this country right now. It's crazy to me. It says here that as of 2023, you had to be no older than 35 years to join the military. Now, I do believe it's in the 40s. So they raised it just in a year. They raised the age, which I don't have a problem with, because any 40-year-old joining the military is probably going for the right reasons. They're at the age of maturity, approximate. So they're going to be going for the right reasons. Those are people that we want. You physically fit, you can do this, do it, please. You know? But, yeah. I've never sold my body. Where does this shit come from? Where does this shit come from? I wish I could, Caleb. I wish I could. I would go tomorrow. I would leave everything. I literally would just ditch everything and leave tomorrow. 100%. Are you joking? I know I'm going to be sexually harassed the entire time I'm in there, so that would cause a lot of problems. But other than that, I'm ready. Put me in, coach. Because I missed something. You know what I mean? So it's So it looks like Army is 35, Navy is 34, Air Force is 39, Marine Corps is 29, and Space Force is 39. But there are age waivers available, and they're granted for individuals who are no more than 40 to 42 years old. So you can join up to 42 years old. You just got to get an age waiver. And I'm sure if you already had a degree and you score high enough on that fucking ASVAB, they're going to be ready to write you an age waiver, because all systems are broken. They need good, smart, educated, stable individuals. Then I see a different age. It says to enlist in active duty, Air Force 42, Army 35, Coast Guard 41. So it looks like they're willing to work with people that have education and, merit. Good stuff. It looks like as far back as 2019, when the military really started having problems with wokeness seeping into the branches, it looks like the higher ups was warning everybody this is problematic, and nobody wanted to listen. They lowered the general physical standards for women and older troops. When was this? Hold on. Every time you hire someone, every time they lower the standards, they're really taking on more risk. You know what I mean? I mean, think about the fact that we just had multiple service members, one of which was active duty, try to commit mass bombings in New Orleans and Las Vegas. ISIS done seeped into their brains. And they're U.S. soldiers. Systems are broken down. How did they get to that one soldier like that? Mentally. I've been brainwashed before. I've believed things that weren't true because I was told to believe things that weren't true. You know what I mean? But I don't think that anyone could ever brainwash me into killing myself and trying to kill others for a terrorist organization. So something is fucking going on. That's all I know. So it looks like... Oh, and we got to talk about TARF wars. So don't let me forget, because Trudeau's been in the news this morning. Lord, I tell you, everything happens. TARF. Let me not forget. Hold on. TARF war with Canada. Lord, y'all, shit's about to get expensive. All right, I'll come back. Okay, the consequences of lowering standards. So every time, okay, how does lowering recruiting standards impact readiness? Every time standards are lowered, I got eggs in my teeth. Every time standards are lowered, recruits who otherwise could not join flood the recruiting centers. fill basic training slots and then move out to active, reserve, or National Guard units. Here, they often cause more problems because of the issues they had prior to enlistment are magnified in the high-paced and stressful military environment. So what this is saying is that people who have maybe been through trauma, have had hard upbringings, people who are, have had hard lives, maybe addiction issues, all of a sudden, these people that really need help start flooding into these recruitment centers, and they sign up for the active military. They get, active, and then they start causing problems in the barracks. They start causing problems at work, and it's sad. But the military is not the place for you to hash out your childhood trauma. They have therapists, I'm sure. You could get a therapist. But, we need soldiers that are mentally capable and emotionally capable. You know what I mean? Commanders tasked with building combat-ready teams spend much of their time dealing with those problems. They spend a lot less time on training and readiness as a result. So it's causing higher-ups to have to treat the base like a daycare when they're supposed to be training some of our most brightest military members for their job and career. The recruiters who have the problems get waivers to join because those tasked with meeting recruitment numbers are only responsible for signing them to a contract and rarely deal with that same recruit a year later. In recruiting command, the goal is quantity over quality. So what this is saying is because the military keeps lowering its standards, the military is getting worse off and worse off. And now we have mentally ill people, people who have been through trauma, people that have emotional issues in the military, wreaking havoc on the military. And we can see this through woke policies and propaganda. There's a lot of shit that's went on in our military with the LGBTQ+, and I'm not going to get into that in this video. But I have talked about the sexual perversion that is in military, law enforcement, and government agencies. It's a problem. Commanders who would rather have 80% of their units filled with high-qualified service members are forced into accepting new recruits with problems. Their units look like they are 100% filled on paper, but the reality is commanders are forced to spend 80% of their time on the 20% with the greatest number of problems. So it's like what we're seeing in the education system when, we have children coming from other countries and they don't speak English, and teachers are preoccupied with children that speak Spanish or Chinese or Russian even. I mean, Polish. The list it's from all over the world. And, we have educators who are having to spend time with those students because they don't speak any English instead of actually teaching a whole class. I mean, it's just crazy. And so, therefore, our education, the United Citizens children's education, it's lacking because the system's not working, because the educators are tied up with, for a lack of better word, with the problems. The educators are tied up with the problems. The commanders are tied up with the problems, for a lack of better word. And it's not okay. And imagine being a service member and being serious about your position. Let's say you're in aviation and you've spent your whole life studying to fly planes, and you spent 10 years doing all of the necessary policy and procedure and going through all the right hoops and getting all your education, and then they completely overlook you and pick some girl because somebody said to pick that girl. It would look good to pick that girl, but you were way more qualified to be flying that plane than she was. I mean, it happens all the time. And there's a lot of people that have not had the opportunity to live out their dreams because of DEI programs. There's a lot of people that have been shit on because of these programs. It's crazy to me how it even seeped into the damn military. I mean, them roots go deep when it's getting into our damn military. Our service members, they used to act like family and brothers. Recently, I don't know what's going on with them. So let's talk about the TARF war with Canada, because I don't know who the hell Justin Trudeau thinks he is. He's disgusting, if you ask me. So he said that Canada is going to hit us. Canada's going with a 25% tax. So anything coming from Canada is about to be expensive as hell. Canada has announced retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. in a move that marks the beginning of a trade war between the neighboring countries. We're in a war. Oh God, Mr. Trudeau, is this the hill you're going to pick to die on? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau set out a far-reaching tariffs of 25%, affecting the 155 billion Canadian dollars worth. And that is, Lord, y'all, they got funny little numbers with their Canada, I see ya, eh? You got, okay, I think I kind of get it. So it's $155 billion worth of Americans' goods, ranging from beer and wine. You know, I watched him talk about this, and he says, yeah, we're going to put a 25% tax on beer and wine. And why did he say beer and wine? Does he think that we're all alcoholics down here in he thinks everybody south of him is an alcoholic? Why was that the first thing out of his mouth? If you go and watch the press conference, I watched it. He says we're going to be taxing, the U.S. 25% on beer and wine. Like that was going to set the people off. And then he's like food and household appliances and sporting goods. Why did he say beer and wine? Why? Because he thinks we're all fucking raging alcoholics down here and we don't know what's going on. That's exactly why. Go watch it and tell me if you agree, because it's wild. I said, he probably makes more off of appliances and food than he would off of beer and wine, but I could be wrong. Why would he bring that up first? So this move matches the U.S. President Donald Trump's 25% levy on Canadian and Mexican imports to the U.S. and an additional 10% on China over his concerns about illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Trudeau said that he will not back down in standing up for but warned of real consequences for people on both sides of the border. Sir, you have burdened your people so bad. I know you ain't talking about consequences. They're going to be living with your consequences for decades to come. Lord. So it looks like the Canadian Prime Minister added that tariffs on the 30 billion worth of U.S. goods would come into force on Tuesday, and another 125 billion in 21 days to give Canadian firms time to adjust. He said it in this order. He said American beer, wine, bourbon, fruits, fruit juices, vegetables, perfumes, clothing, shoes, as well as household appliances, sporting goods, and furniture. That's what we're looking at that might go up. Well, I don't buy much of that. Fruits and vegetables. That's about it. I think I'll be fine. I got an apple right there, banana right there, 2 avocados. I'll be fine. Screw you, Trudeau. Screw you. Sorry, Sacco. So it looks like oh, whoa. Wait a second. Let me back that up. It looks like Canada is the largest foreign supplier of crude oil. According to the most recent official trade figures, 61% of oil imported to the U.S. between January and November came from Canada. Y'all, gas is about to go back up. Oh, my God. I can't do this. What did I tell you? I said it might get worse before it gets better. This is what I meant. 100%. 100%. Because I already know how Trump does business. That's why I appreciate him. Because he's like me. He's a tough cookie. He don't play that shit. So he might, yeah, gas might go back up. We'll see. We'll see. Yes, when Trump starts drilling, thank you, Flutterbot. Exactly. And that pipeline that Joe Biden shut down and put 50,000 people out of work with the stroke of a pen, if we would have had that pipeline open the past 4 or 5 years, gas would probably be at a decent price right now. Like, I don't know why I do know why. They did that so that they could import it from elsewhere to line their pockets with money. It's called shady business deals. Like, you know, they shut it down internally. They put a bunch of people out of work. Gas got astronomical. COVID happened. Well, yeah, that was at the same time, remember? That was at the same time. Oh, God. Shit was wild. Yeah, he says that we're going to drill. Apparently, we've got all over this damn country. Why are we not drilling, baby, and selling that shit elsewhere? Better start. How the hell else are we going to get ourselves out of debt? Like, trillions. Was it 35 trillion? We better start selling something. Listen, would you sell ass to save your country? I can't. I'm sorry. I'll do a lot for the U.S., but I'm sorry. I draw the line in the sand. No. I'll sell gas for my country, but I ain't selling no ass for my country, you know? Ooh. What if they started getting drafted? Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. That's one of those things you'd have to sign up for. Do you want to enlist to save your country? Yeah. I don't know. Oh, the preacher. Let's talk about this preacher, y'all. Because he was fired. So this man works for the Catholic Church. His name is Calvin Robinson. And he decided to get on stage during a sermon and do the Roman salute like Elon Musk. However, either he ain't got enough money like Elon Musk to be playing these games, or the Catholic Church, I'm actually surprised that they didn't, like, I don't know, publicly execute him. I'm joking. This was in Michigan. I'm going to show you. He did it twice, y'all. Listen. Why, Calvin? Why? This was so blatant, y'all. There's videos. I'm not going to show it because I'm scared my video will get demonetized. He does it. He just goes all in. And, I mean, it was definitely shock. This was, I think, publicly, like, being filmed. A Michigan priest with the Angelic Catholic Church has been removed from his position for making what appears to be a Nazi salute. Oh, God. Calvin Robinson, who held the title of priest in charge at St. Paul's Anglican Catholic Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan, performed the gesture at the end of a January 25th speech at the National Pro-Life Summit in Washington, D.C. The priest appeared to quote Elon Musk, saying, "My heart goes out to you," before mimicking his straight-armed motion. Yeah, he was fired immediately. His license was revoked. His license at the church was subsequently revoked, and he will no longer serve as a priest. And the church had to say, quote, "We believe those who mimic the Nazi salute, even as a joke or as an attempt to troll their opponents, trivialize the horror of the Holocaust and diminish the sacrifice of those who fought against the perpetrators. Such actions are harmful, divisive, and contrary to tenets of Christian charity." I have to agree. I'm sorry. Listen, first of all, this man ain't even of age of maturity, so it's no surprise that he's not a priest. He's an activist. Okay, so Calvin has publicly stated that he did this gesture to oppose the public's ridicule of Elon Musk making the gesture. He said that he did it to show the public how dumb they were for thinking that it was the Roman salute. But he gets up there and does the Roman salute. And says, "My heart goes out to you," before thinking what Elon done. Here's what I'm going to say. This is either part of We are either watching history in the making and something big is going to happen with these people out here doing this Roman salute in public. I don't know what's going on. But I wanted to highlight this because something is going on. And I don't know what. And I don't know if we're watching history in the making. But I wanted to highlight it because this is not normal. And he's saying that he did it to, to mock the world. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. I feel like this is something bigger. And I feel like it's a blatant case of we're everywhere. I'm probably wrong. I'm wrong a lot. But I wanted to show this because it's a good chance that we're watching history in the making. And this is part of a bigger picture that I can't even wrap my mind around, honey. I don't know. And I'm not saying that either one of these people, Elon or Calvin Robinson, I'm not saying that they're part of some white S group. But what I am saying is this was blatant. And to believe his excuse would be pretty naive. To just overlook it as, oh, yeah, he's just, trying to show off. I don't believe that. And he was fired. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Mañana. Adios. I don't date children. I'm an adult. It's not allowed. Sorry. Maybe next time. I'm probably old enough to be your mama. Ain't that crazy? I know. Still blows my mind. It still blows my mind. I hope the gas goes down, y'all. I haven't been going through a lot of it, but I gotta get some today. This shit's wild, though. I mean, just everything. It's just like the planes crashing. Damn. Oh, why did the medical vac fall out of the sky? Does anybody know? Because I still don't know. Let's see if they have an explanation. Because I know I was talking about that yesterday. For those that don't know, and I got more information. For those that don't know, there was a medical flight, a jet of some sort that left the Shriners Hospital in, I think, Missouri. Or no, Pennsylvania. They were going to make a pit stop in Missouri, and then they were heading to Mexico. Somewhere between damn Pennsylvania and Missouri, the plane just damn fell out the sky. That's what it looks like from surveillance footage. It looks like a damn torpedo hitting the damn ground. I mean, it's on fire. It combusts in the air, and then it directly diagonally falls and, like, plummets to the sidewalk. Well, there was 6 people aboard, and then there was, I'm getting chill bumps. There was also people on the ground that were injured, and one little boy was severely injured. They don't even know if he's going to survive. He was, I think, a child. Hold on. Let me get my facts right. So the 6 people that were on board were, it appeared to be 2 pilots, 2 medical staff, a mother, and a baby that was sick, a child, a young girl. Y'all, this poor baby had already been through so much in life. She's sick, just had a major procedure, if I'm not mistaken. She had surgery at the Shriners, and they were taking her back to Mexico. And, I got chill bumps. It just burst in flames and fell to the ground. It was right next to a mall. The homes were caught on fire. Cars were just completely torched. I mean, nothing was left but the metal of the vehicle. It burnt everything so bad. The jet fuel, more than likely. It's really sad. This don't make it better, but I will say that mother and her daughter, that baby come in with her mother, and she went out with her mother. That gives me they're in heaven, and I'm praying for all the victims from both of these crashes. It makes me terrified to fly, y'all. Good thing I drive everywhere. I'm trying to figure out. So a medical transport jet with a child patient, her mother, and 4 others aboard crashed into a Philadelphia neighborhood shortly after takeoff on Friday evening, exploding in a fireball that engulfed several homes. Well, it looks like the plane was on fire before it hit the ground. But when it hit the ground, that jet fuel probably went everywhere, and you can see 2 explosions. All 6 people aboard were from Mexico. The child had been treated in Philadelphia for a life-threatening condition, and she was being transported home. The flight's final destination would have been Tijuana, after Missouri, because the J is H, right? They were probably stopping in Missouri, maybe for fuel or something. I don't know. It doesn't say. I'm trying to figure out what. Every time I see seasoned crew, I'm just like, yeah, how many hours, buddy? Like, now, this was a seasoned crew, and everybody involved in this flights go through rigorous training. How many hours? Did the aircraft malfunction? All the governor, Josh Shapiro, has said is that this is an aviation disaster. They're not saying what happened. This crash came 2 days after the deadliest U.S. air disaster in a generation. That was the first time that we've had a air disaster like that in a whole generation. I don't think, yeah, this is rare, you know, for that Black Hawk to run into that American Airlines. It's rare, like once in a generation rare. You know, I'm sure when aviation first started out, there was a lot more problems, you know, people died a lot more because planes weren't as good as they are nowadays. But it's a shocking event because it's just so rare. The Philadelphia crash was the second fatal incident in 15 months for jet rescue. In 2023, 5 crew members were killed when their plane overran a runway in the central Mexican state of Morelos and crashed into a hillside. What? Somebody, I think, was this what y'all were talking about yesterday? Y'all hear that leaf blower? Yeah, and it did, Alex. It looks like a missile. It does. The ring footage is just crazy. There's one, I'm laughing because there's one with a couple on their front porch, and like the guy walks out and then the woman's coming behind him and it looks like she's trying to lock the door, but she forgot something, so she goes back inside and he's still standing on the porch, and all of a sudden you see the plane fall out of the sky and the damn mushroom cloud, and the woman starts running in the house. She was coming out at this point, and the woman runs back in and he runs back in. Those people have survival skills. As soon as I saw that video, I said, whoa, they'll live through a zombie apocalypse. They got this. They immediately went back into the house. Some people would have been like, what's that? Let me go towards the fire. Like, oh, God. I'll show it to you in a second. 5 crew members were killed when their plane overran a runway in central Mexican state of Morelos. Morelos? Listen, and y'all tell me the same thing over and over. What? Where's this? Seven dead, 19 injured in high-impact air ambulance crash in Philadelphia. Is this it? A person and the 7th fatal victim of the fiery crash of an air ambulance onto a busy Philadelphia street. So this was the crash. So I guess people on the ground, when the plane fell out of the sky, it killed people. I mean, I knew that there was a boy. There was, okay, so it was carrying 6 people from Mexico, including a child. Blah, 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 blah. I said that. So it looks like the plane took off, reached about 1,500 feet of altitude, and then plummeted in a steep descent, crashing less than a minute after takeoff in what the National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Homedy called a high-impact crash that left the plane highly fragmented. As of Saturday morning, officials have said there are 7 dead, 6 on the jet, and 1 person in their car, and 19 others injured. Most of them have been treated and released. There's a little boy that's not doing well, though. Air traffic controllers didn't hear anything concerning before the crash, and they're still looking for the cockpit voice recorder. The plane hit the ground after 6 p.m. during a busy Friday evening dinner out. It was an hour less dinner. It was less than 3 miles from the airport. So they were not even far down the road at all. What happened? All of a sudden, I heard a boom. I got up and looked out the window, and the smoke and the fire, it was like a balloon. I thought it was a gas station that blew up. That's what it looks like. Here it is, I think. Is this it? No, that's news. That poor baby. You know how sick you got to be for Shriners Hospital to fly to Mexico to damn transport you down all the way to Philadelphia for damn surgery? That poor child had probably been through so much, y'all. Thank God for Shriners. They've had so many children. My papa used to donate to them. If I could ever have the money, I would be in Shriners, damn, donating it all. I'd be poor again. Them commercials tear me up. Just thinking about them, I'll start crying. Oh, it's worse than the dog commercials, man. Like the puppy commercials, I can kind of handle the Sarah McLachlan singing "In the Arms of the Angel." I can kind of handle that. But them damn Shriners one with the children's and, oh, my damn heartstrings. So I know that child was sick. She had to have been sick to be transported and get, you know, and probably indigent, because that's what Shriners does. They help people that can't afford to help themselves, that don't have insurance. I mean, whew, wonderful organization. I can't imagine how many children they've helped. Now, then there's probably the other side of that, you know, because these charity organizations have a tendency to be greedy and also misuse of money. But from all outwards appearances, Shriner seems like a good hospital to donate to. Hold on. Is this the pilot? Oh, so it looks like Jose Harris, he was the aircraft's co-pilot. They were preparing to hold a family and staying away from... Hold on one second. I'm sorry, y'all. Half of this is in Spanish. So it looks like one of the pilots was this guy, Jose Harris. He was 43, lived in central Mexico, loved salsa dancing and video games, and had been a pilot for more than a decade. His brother said he loved to fly and worked for the ambulance service for more than a year, flying from Mexico's Caribbean coast to the United States. This was the pilot of the Philadelphia plane that went down. I wonder what happened, y'all. The Philadelphia crash was the second fatal crash in 15 months for jet rescue. In 2023, 5 crew members... I know, that's what I was looking for, and I can't find nothing right now. I really think that due to when you really think about it, we have teachers, we have a lack of cops, we have a lack of medical professionals, we have a lack of doctors, we have a lack of EMT workers, firefighters, everything, all of our infrastructure that is designed to help protect, law and order. It seems like we're having a breakdown across the board, and I can't help but notice that he had only been flying for about a year, it seems, for the medical rescue, and I'm not saying it's a problem. And he had been a pilot for approximately a decade. I don't know the history of that. I don't have his damn LinkedIn. I don't have, we don't really know if that was consecutive 10 years or if he got, we don't know. But I will tell you that due to the fact that they need personnel in all of these outlets, from law enforcement to EMT to probably helicopter pilots, the standards have been lowered all across the board when it comes to the United States and every outlet imaginable. And I'm not saying that he wasn't qualified. I'm just saying that it needs to be remembered. We need to take that into account, that maybe some of these freak accidents are happening because people need more training. I'm trying to be kind of sensitive here. I don't know this man's history, but you get what I'm saying. To prevent things from happening like this, we need to educate and train properly and hire off of merit, experience, responsibility, maturity, ethics, moral, all of that, and not looks. The breakdown in these incidents, in my opinion, are happening because we're not training and people are not qualified. And I don't even know about the Philadelphia flight. I'm just saying, in my opinion, across the board, we're seeing a lot of bad things go down because people are not trained. We have a whole section dedicated to people being in positions of power that shouldn't be. Remember? How the fudge did you get in your position? So this is nothing new. There's people all over the place that are not qualified to be doing what they're doing, and they're still doing it. And that's why shit's going haywire. Is that how you say it? A-wire? Is it A-wire or haywire? Anyways, you know what I mean. And I'm not saying these plane crashes. Now, that one is quite, listen, that's what I wanted to see. And then I'm going. We're going to go somewhere. What did I need to do today? We need to make window covers. I've got these boards. They're huge. It was really hard to find something to do with them last night. They were in the way. You know what I mean? Why does everybody have fake accounts? Hold on one second. Let's see. I had a list of protocol that was broken with the Black Hawk. I found a list of some. Somebody done damn been out here damn doing all my work for me. Thank you, thank you. No, well, yeah, the woman that was driving, sorry, the woman that was driving ran right into the damn airline's flight. That's what happened. She didn't see the damn plane in front of her. She probably shouldn't have been in the air, in my opinion. Not by herself flying at night on a damn mission, training shit, like... She was 1,000 feet towards runway 33, where American Airlines flight 5342 was about to land, and those numbers are questionable. You know what I mean? But yeah, she was 100 to 400 feet too high in the air. My computer's not working. I'll find that list if I can remember. There's a whole list of shit that she did wrong, and her co-pilot That's the whole point of a co-pilot. He's supposed to be like, hey girl, we flying too high. Hey girl, we probably shouldn't have left the ground. He's the one. He was her superior. It was his job. And who, listen, I know for damn sure they got somebody that has to damn clear those planes for flying and landing. So who the fuck was that person? Who said, yeah, all three of y'all can go when it was supposed to be 4? Listen, there's so much sketchy shit, it don't even make sense. And there might be some conspiracy coming out later, y'all, because I might have a conspiracy for you later, because it don't make sense. They shouldn't even have been up there. She shouldn't have been where she was. They should have had more people. Yeah, we do know the cause of the crash. The Black Hawk pilot ran slap into the American Airlines flight. And she was hired because she was a woman. Allegedly. DEI coming in clutch. I wonder how many pilots are out there sitting right now and they were denied access to live out their dreams and career because they were a man that was white. I wonder, any of you pilots out there want to speak up, please do so after the video ends. Because I know there's got to be some out there. Got to be. 28 years old up here flying. I don't think that you need to be 28, 20 anything flying a Black Hawk. I'm sorry. And I understand that our founding fathers were like 19, 18 when they wrote the Declaration of Independence. But things have changed, honey. This ain't 17, whatever, 16, 15, whatever anymore, okay? I just think that with that kind of equipment, that kind of aircraft, that we need to be looking at experience. And I understand they have to do training stuff, but they don't need to be doing it at night across from fucking Reagan Airport. What were they doing? I don't know. Nobody knows, apparently. There's alleged what they were doing. They were doing a training mission. They were training. They were up there playing. I don't know, man. I just feel like operating that kind of equipment, you need to be at least at the age of maturity, approximately. That would be 40s for men, 32 for women. I just, and to find out that everybody on that plane was under the age of maturity is crazy. And then to find out that they were sending somebody that there was supposed to be a whole nother soldier with them, he was not there. I need gas. And then to find out that she was 1,000 feet too far out in front of this airline, and done told her twice. They told her twice to look out for these flights, and she didn't see the plane, allegedly. Let's hope that she just didn't see the plane. Lord forbid, let's just hope that she didn't see the plane. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. And I think that that's the general consensus, that it was a horrible accident. And in my opinion, none of them should have been in the damn air. It's just like when you buy your damn teenage kid a fucking sports car. They're not going to respect it. Call me crazy. Go ahead, honey. Go ahead. Okay, or not. Be a douche. Be a dumb douche. Oh, God, sorry. I swear to God. People don't even know how to fucking drive, and motherfuckers out here in helicopters. Yeah, I have a feeling her family didn't want that information released because they knew what the public was going to say. And almost as if they knew whose fault it was. That's interesting to me. They also knew what she was wrapped up into personally and how it was going to look. And I respect them for trying to protect her peace, you know, especially in her dying moments. But, like, these things need to be talked about so that it can be fixed. Nobody should have died in either one of those flights. Oh, we gotta get gas. Because I don't want to have to get it before school. Hold on one second. I got to see. Trying to see if I had money. I don't know how much I have to damn. Yes, I want a receipt. Remove card. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I got like $64 in there, you know, like, so I didn't know if it would do it. Because sometimes I have to move money over. If it's like sheets, they put $100 charge on your thing. Damn, it's cold. Y'all, the weather's done went back down again. Oh, shit. The pump stopped. Oh, damn it, every time. Ouch. Sweater. Y'all know I immediately, when I saw that priest had done that damn Roman salute, I immediately go see if him and Elon Musk knew each other. It's gonna be cold tonight. It was cold last night. I like to froze to death. We need to go get my sleeping bag. And we'll make some window covers too. There was something else I needed to do, but I forgot. Y'all, I feel like rough today. I'm not doing anything. Those ladies are trained just like a man. Yeah, well. Gas receipt. Oh, God. I just put 40 in because that leaves me with, like, I've been trying to hang on to my truck payment money. I'm still, like, $200 short. I'm surprised I even got 400, you know, what I got, because I'm surprised I still got 400 of it, honey, because them job interviews and all the gas I had to get. Oh, Lord. I've been really good about managing my money lately. I'm really proud of myself, actually. After my headlight mishap and all of that. It's just one thing after another, ain't it? It's never ending bullshit. Bullshit. I was coming out. Beat. I was going to paint my nails. I need to cut them. They look really good, but, like, I don't know what to do with them. I ain't good at girly stuff like that. I need a girlfriend to damn house and do my nails for me. You know what I mean? Hey, girl, you free? I got a bottle of wine and a pot roast on. You want to come do my nails? Making cornbread, too. You can take you some home. I'll pay you. You know, but, like, that's what I need. I need a nail house call. I ain't cooking shit in here, especially not pot roast. My damn mattress would smell like it for a month. I do have a mini crock pot. I get gas on me. I smell gas. I feel like that girl from Superstar. Yeah, I couldn't cook no pot roast in here. I'm gonna have to do something with them avocados for lunch, though. That breakfast burrito, I'd give that a solid 7.5 out of 10. It was better than McDonald's. Sorry, I'm sleepy. It was better than McDonald's sausage, egg, and cheese burrito. By far better. Saudi I was going... I don't know, call me crazy. I just really felt like people that was flying them helicopters was probably like 40s, 50s. I didn't know that they had a bunch of 20-year-olds up in the damn sky. Listen, when I was 20, I thought, I thought that, I don't know. I was the same way. But I'm just saying, now that I'm coming into maturity and I'm growing up, I see things a little different. And I think that we put too much on young people way too soon. Especially when we're talking about, college and getting out of high school and stuff like that. We just rush them so quickly. I'm 30-something years old and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to fucking major in. It's a lot. Part of my indecisiveness comes from financial insecurity, but, it's a lot. I just think that there needs to be more research on post-teen, early tween, early 20 development. I think between the ages of 15 and 25, there needs to be research on that whole age group of people, and they need to be considered. I don't know. I just know psychologically there's a lot of development that takes place between that age that we do not have research on, that we don't study, in my opinion. We put too much on people too quickly. I don't even think I came into conscientiousness until like 27, bruh. Seriously, when I had my daughter, that's when I was like, oh, this is the world? But I'd already been living for 27 years. Just don't know how. I don't even remember drinking water or eating food. How was I living? Who was feeding me? I don't know either. But I did not come into conscientiousness until like 27, 28, and I'm being dead ass. I don't know. We just put too much. And psychologically, we know that young people's brains don't even fully develop approximately until 25. And we got them up here in the sky flying planes, and their brains ain't even developed. I just think that it's problematic. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm not trying to say that nobody's mature enough to be in their position. I'm just saying there's a lot that we don't know about the the developmental process. And I think that we put too much on these young people too fast. Too fast. And I really thought there was damn 40, 50-year-old helicopter pilots in the sky. I had no fucking clue. 28? Girl, do you know what I was doing at 28? Good for you. But I don't think you should have been up. I mean, no disrespect to anybody. I want everybody to live out their dreams. I'm appreciative to our service members. I just think that we need to slow down sometimes and think about what we're doing. Is it even logical to be flying unexperienced, in my opinion, with 500 hours of flight hours? Is it logical to be flying at night when I'm not going to have clear view? I've only got 180 in the cockpit. I don't have the guy that's supposed to be behind me and be my eyes. I ain't got him back there. We're carrying a fucking God knows what. I've heard everything from a transformer to fucking humans. I don't know what they was transporting. I don't know what they was doing on this training mission. There's a lot of conspiracy behind this shit. It's not logical why they were even up there. It's logical why she was hundreds of feet above the elevation that she was supposed to, the altitude, that she was supposed to be at. It doesn't make sense why she was so close to that fucking runway. It doesn't make sense why air traffic control had done told her twice to get the fuck away from there. There was a lot of mistakes that was made. They were not all Rebecca's. A lot of that falls also on her co-pilot. That was his job. To be her eyes, to be her ears, to... Listen, I ain't never flown a fucking plane. I'm flying by the seat of my pants with this. But one can assume from basic common sense that it is his responsibility to be in control of that plane if she's not capable. He's supposed to help her help herself. That would be my basic observation, and I don't know much about aviation. That's just common sense. I would assume that since he was her superior, that he would be, it was his responsibility to, you know, have some control over the situation. And it doesn't appear that anybody was in control of the situation. And we don't know what happened. Hopefully there's something on that voice recorder. Hopefully we pull information out of the black box. But from all the information and evidence that we currently have, it looks like they did not see that big ass plane in the sky in front of them, right in front of them. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you best believe if there is anything, any conspiracy behind it, we'll never fucking know. The government will cover that shit up so damn quick, our heads will spin, and it'll be tomorrow and we'll forget about it. It doesn't appear from all the evidence that there's any, you know, anything more than a freak accident that took place. Sad. Senseless. Senseless. So I'm going to switch out my sleeping bags. I can't see. I need glasses. I just thought that experience was like decades. I didn't know experience was like a year. Shit, I might have hope. I might can be a pilot one day. Shit, with these standards the way they are now, I might be able to get up there. I'm joking. I could never. I'm not a height person, okay? I'm just being honest. I'm not a height person. Now, if it's a mountain, I'll do that. But I ain't trying to be off the ground. Like, at least if I'm on a mountain, I got a mass, you know? Like, when you're off the ground, you're in a mass, but you're not on a mass anymore. And that shit's sketchy to me. I don't like flying. I'm not a huge fan of flying at all. I get extremely nervous, nauseated, like I'll feel nauseous. It's not my favorite. I've done it. Had to. It's not my favorite. I just don't, think that I would be interested in putting myself in stressful situations on the daily. Not to mention, I have bad days, you know? I have bad days. You don't want to put me up there. That's funny. Oh, Lord. That PMS, you know? The moods. And they come quick, too. I can see us, like, taking off now. I'm, landing, I'm like crying. Oh Lord, yeah. You don't want me up there. Hey, at least I know that though, you know? That's called awareness. Some people lack that. And they end up in positions of power that they shouldn't have never been in. It's every day. I'm excited about tomorrow. I got this school thing going on. It looks like I'm going to be there like half the day. So, that's interesting. I just hope I don't have to like deal with too many people, because it's like the more people, the worse it gets. I think that I'm probably just going to be dealing with a few teachers and like probably an advisor, and yeah, that sounds about right now. I've kind of been missing home. I feel like I've been away from Florida like 2 months now, but it hasn't been that long. It's only been like, what, a couple weeks? 4 weeks? I don't know. It feels like forever. It's the cold weather, man. It just, is not a vibe. I'm going to bed early tonight. I'm not even joking. I'll probably go to bed maybe 7, because I gotta get up early. I gotta go find Wi-Fi, immediately jump on my computer. I got a job interview first thing, I'm not even going to do makeup. I probably will throw this outfit back on. It's a construction job. And then I have to be over to the school. After school, I got to go to the bank. It's going to be a busy day. And sometimes I'm like, well, shit, with everything as hectic as it is, me getting everything done, when the hell would I work 40 hours? But I guess it'll happen at the right time. I don't know. All I can do is just keep praying about it. You know, it's crazy because when I was on drugs, I never had a problem finding a job. It's just crazy how much the world has changed. Never had a problem finding a job when I was on drugs. You had to have been able to tell I was on drugs. I had track marks everywhere, you know? Whatever. What do I know? Nothing. Y'all, I gotta shave my pits. Listen. I usually shave my underarms every day, right? But I ain't had no razor. And the last razor I had, I done doled it out using it on my legs and stuff. So I threw it away. And I got in the shower. And I couldn't find that razor. So I didn't shave my pits. Well, then your deodorant doesn't work. People with long pit hair, I don't know how you do it, honey, because my deodorant don't work if I don't have my if I don't have my pit shaved. You got to have fresh shaven skin for your deodorant to work when you're a woman. Fun fact. Well, if you're anything like me. If I got hair on my underarms, my deodorant ain't gonna work. I don't know how people do that long hair shit. I don't. I feel so much cleaner when I can shave. It's going to feel so good to walk into this storage building, y'all. It's all neat now, I think. I don't know what it's like. Honestly, I don't know if we left it a mess. Because we came over here and then we fled out of town. Remember, I had job interviews. I don't think I left it a mess. I think I cleaned up. Ah! Sleepy. I need to wake up. That coffee ain't doing shit. Burger King coffee? 5 out of 10. The breakfast was good though. Damn, breakfast burrito wasn't bad. What the hell is that? Yo, I left my fucking shoe. Are you kidding me right now? You're kidding me. Y'all, I am so fucking embarrassed. This has been sitting here for a fucking week. At least I have it though, because those are some of my favorite Vans. Here, I'm trying to wipe it off. Oh my God. I'm mortified. I'm like the trashy woman of the trailer park. Leaving my shit everywhere. My dog's running around in my yard with no leash on. I'm that woman. That's great. It's neat. This is what I need. Hey! Suicide mission. Probably. You know, I be having those kinds of bad days where I make, I don't know, poor decisions. I'm like, fuck life. Ooh. Yeah, you know, it happens. El Javier, how are you doing? I am good. It could be worse. I'm switching out my sleeping bags because it's going to be cold tonight. And I like to froze last night. This is why you have to check the weather every day. And it changes every other hour. So, I smell like cat food. Ugh. This parking lot stinks. All right. Oh, it's cold. It's actually freezing. You know what? I might wear this to school tomorrow, y'all. This matching outfit. Because it's cute and it's clean. Let's go. Damn my goodness. Woo, girl, it's cold. God dang. I feel like this shit hurts, y'all. I'm sleepy. I'm feeling sleepy. Y'all know that song? It's getting sticky. I'm feeling sleepy. Oh, Lord. Well, I know I needed to do something today. I can't remember. I can't remember what I was supposed to do. Could you be my memory for me? Oh. Go gadget arm. Palm down. See? Palm down. Go gadget arm. My heart goes out to you. Palm down. Palm up. Palm up. You know what I meant. Palm up. Come on, y'all. Oh, I'm gonna sleep so good tonight. I got my warm sleeping bag. Why? Lord, give me something. When's the last time we had fun? Let's have some fun. I'm like an old lady pulling out my Excedrin to wake up. I need a cardigan and some glasses. It's official. I've reached old lady status. I'm tired. It was all I could do to wash my ass and my face and brush my teeth. You know you've had a long damn week when you're like, God, I don't feel like showering. And anybody with ADHD, you know it's hard to shower anyways. It's a whole process. You need like a good hour and a half to mentally prep to wash your ass when you have ADHD. It's hard. Just pulling yourself away from your work or your phone or whatever is hard to find the time to wash your ass when you have ADHD. Especially if you're a girl and you gotta wash your hair. Oh God. It seems like a never-ending task. You gotta get in there, exfoliate, shave, wash your hair, shave something else, start conditioning, shave something else. Oh, wash your conditioner out. Lord, it's a process. Hair washing day. I do a deep scrub, super shave. I sometimes even shave my face. I like to exfoliate that. Helps your makeup stay on better. Get all that peach fuzz off. Just got to be careful around your hair. But yeah, that can take a good hour just to get in the shower. I need an hour and a half to mentally prep for the shower. So that's a 2.5 hour event. And Lord, if I got to put on makeup and do my hair, that just turned into a 3.5 hour event. It can be complex. It's not easy being a girl. I mean, you can be a dirty girl. But I choose not to be. I try to stay on top of it. Recently, in recent months, since I went for crimes that I did not commit, in recent months, I've gotten better. I don't know. Maybe I needed that time in jail. You know what I mean? I'm off the Suboxone while I was in there. Great things have happened slowly but surely since then. I mean, it's not perfect. I'm still jobless. But mentally, coming off of that Suboxone, I feel like I'm more myself than I have been in probably a decade. So I'm grateful for that. And it's been 6-7 years. So I probably feel like myself since the last time I saw my daughter. There you go. coming off Suboxone. I feel like myself since the last time I saw my daughter. It's the first time I felt like myself since the last time I saw my daughter. There you go. That's what I meant. We're getting there. Communication is key. It'd help if you grow up communicating, but you see, that wasn't allowed in my home. We weren't allowed to communicate. True shit. Real shit. Swear to God. Crazy. I know it's crazy. I know. Yeah. That's why I talk about it. And I thought that it was crazy when I was growing up, but you know, they gaslight you. Ooh. I always had that feeling as a child that my upbringing wasn't normal. I remember that's some of my first memories. And that started when I realized that my dad was an alcoholic. And I was little enough to hold in your arms, honey. Little enough to hold in your arms. So I was pretty young. 4, probably 5 when memories start. And I knew immediately that it was not normal. And I knew it my whole childhood. And I would say it. This shit ain't normal. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it. I'd lose my teeth if I said it. But like, I would tell my therapist because I was in therapy. And I remember being a kid and expressing, this shit ain't normal. And I think they knew that. Clearly, I kept getting taken by the, you know, so I don't know. I think communication is important. And this is what happens when you're not allowed to do that as a child. It's imperative that your children talk to you and you talk to them about real shit too. Those conversations need to take place. No conversations ever took place with me as a child. And in return, that made me become a horrible parent. And I'm suffering the consequences of my actions because of my parents' failed actions. And that's why I talk about this stuff. And it's also helped me heal. I feel like I'm in a good place mentally. It could be worse. I've learned a lot in the past year. Actually, the past 2 years from being homeless. You know, when I lived in Florida, the first year that I moved into my car, I had a job. I had money coming in. Things were good. You know, it was only after I lost my job that things become so hard living out of the car. And then the whole Planet Fitness debacle, which is crazy. But I'm glad that I came off the Suboxone. If there's ever any silver lining in this whole situation, it's me coming off of that medication. Because it was holding me back. It was keeping me trapped. And honestly, it worsened my depression. It worsened my depression. I'm not a depressed person. I'm actually a really happy person. The problem is that I'm financially depressed, you know? And that spills over. When you're financially struggling, that's going to cause you to be depressed. I'm not a depressed person. I'm a really happy person. It's just financial instability has caused me to be unstable in many ways. Mentally, emotionally, physically. There's a hopelessness and like I don't know. It's a hopeless feeling that comes with not being able to financially take care of yourself. And then not being able to find work on top of that. I don't know how I've held it together, honestly. Especially getting rejected by so many different jobs that I'm more than qualified for and places that I would have loved to work at. It sucks. I don't know. Last year, it really was affecting me. Looking for work. And spending all of my money going to interviews. I mean, the thousands of dollars that I've spent is unbelievable. Running to take drug tests and running to jump through fucking hoops. And like, that will cause depression. Getting rejected constantly. Being told, no, can't hire you. We can't hire you. We've hired someone else. Oh, I don't have time to do that interview. Sorry, we'll have to reschedule. And then never hearing anything again. It's just like, it breaks your spirit. It does. It breaks your spirit. It really upsets me when they seem so eager to hire me and then I do the interview and everything goes great and then I never hear anything. It hurts you. It's like, all I want to do is work. Shouldn't be this hard. I've never in my life seen a job market like this. From the time I was able legally to work, I was working an on-paper job. And before that, I was working an illegal job. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked pretty much my whole fucking life. From the time that I was able to work, my parents expected me to work. So, this is the first time I've ever seen this job market like this. It's crazy. I hope that I just hope that Trump doesn't lose his focus on what is important. I hope that these tax wars that we're about to go through, I hope that we don't lose focus on the bigger picture in this country. I'm not really opposed to it. I know that it's going to make products go up, but sometimes, like I said, last year and the year before that, sometimes it has to get worse before it can get better. And things have got to change. So I'm putting my trust in him because he's a businessman and he helped this country many years ago. And I know that he can do it again. But this is exactly what I mean when I said shit might get worse next year. 2025 might be bad. And then 2026, we might start seeing results. This is exactly what I meant. I just don't know how to put this shit into words sometimes. But also, planes falling out of the sky. Hello. That's not normal. You know? Everything that's been going on for the past week is just concerning. It's like, wow, what a start to 2025. January has been intense, hasn't it? It's been kind of crazy. Like, I told y'all, might get worse before it gets better. Shit, we might be damn cleaning up Kamala and Joe's mess for the next damn century. We don't know yet. We don't even know what all they done fucked up. Coming to light, though. Slowly but surely, it's coming to light. Piece by piece, domino by domino, they're falling over. And I knew it would. And look at the media starting to turn. The media is going to shift. Just watch. They're going to shift. They've already started. Certain outlets. By the end of his 4 years in office, they'll be praising him like he was God's gift to earth. Same shit. Different day. The media is just as fake as a damn group of cheerleaders. You know what I mean? It's damn high school behavior. That's how they operate business. It's pathetic. I wish I had the financial stability to go around and actually report on the fucking news, because I know I'd be damn good at it. Be asking the right questions. They don't even know how to ask questions anymore, much less relay the news back to us. Bought and paid for. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I just kind of had a feeling. I mean, it's not like somebody comes to power and they can just flip the switch and everything goes back to the way that it was before. It doesn't work like that. It takes time. These things take time. That I do know. It's just like the legal system. And honey, if I've learned anything through going through that personally, is how to be patient with these things. And I knew that good things weren't going to happen overnight. It might be it might get worse before it gets better, because it has to. He's going to have to throw his weight and power to get anything done in there. It looks like he's been doing a good job at Drain Swamp, though, because he's been getting rid of people, shutting down damn DEI programs and offices and firing people, and I am all for it. Half of those people in their positions don't even know how to do their damn jobs anymore. Nor do they want to take the initiative to do it. The FBI is a joke. All the damn government agencies are, essentially. I agree with, like, George Orwell on these types of things. Like, I understand the significance and the need for law and order, but I also understand how law and order become the perpetrators sometimes. you know? So it's like I have a love-hate relationship with government, and, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with the government. Plain and simple. I understand the need, but I also understand the corruption. It's a sticky situation. Sticky situation. Oh, I need to fix that fender, y'all. It gets on my nerves when I turn my wheel. It's rubbing the tire. Good morning, y'all. Tyler, you can get off of it. You can definitely get off of it. It's a lot easier. I would say that you probably had, it's a lot easier than coming off of heroin or fentanyl or anything like that. Coming off Suboxone, you're not going to go through the type of withdrawals that you did coming off of heroin or methadone or anything like that. But if you're on 16, you're going to have to dose down. You need to spend the next year dosing down. That many milligrams, you're going to need to dose down. I would have to come up with a correct calculation to get down to a 0.1 gram. You're looking at least a year, if not 18 months, to come off of 16 milligram dose. That's up there. Now, if you cold turkey on 16, honey, you're going to be going through it. But that's why you need to learn to taper down. And you don't need, I don't care if you weigh 300 pounds and you're 6'5". You don't need 16 milligrams. How long have you been on it? How many years? Have you been on it for years? Or, I should have started there. How many years have you been on the Suboxone? Let's start there. Because if you've only been on it for a year, you need to stay on it. But you could start dosing down now. Perfect time. Now's the perfect time. I was on Suboxone for 4 years almost. Way too long. You don't need to be on Suboxone that long. Suboxone should be a temporary Band-Aid along with outpatient treatment. That they're using Suboxone. The government is misusing Suboxone, in my opinion, for financial profit. In my opinion, they have MAT programs that are popping up through the prison systems. The Department of Corrections is now giving sober inmates narcotics as a preventative deterrent from heroin and fentanyl before they get out of prison. I don't know about you, but I personally don't think that anyone that's sober needs to reintroduce themselves to narcotics as a preventative to stay off of narcotics. 2 years. You need to go ahead and start weaning down. It's that time. It's that time. You have a grasp on people, places, and things. Have you changed your environment completely? And that includes cutting out toxic family that could pull you back into drug use. That's what Suboxone is for. Suboxone is for, it's a Band-Aid. It's to assist in getting sober and in sobriety. You should not be on Suboxone for 10 years. You don't need to be on Suboxone for 8 years. Absolutely not 6 years. A good time to start, in my opinion, and I've used Suboxone several times in my life. Started using it back in 2008 or 9 was the first time I was put on Suboxone. So I've used it almost 20 years. So we've done this a few times. But in my opinion, the year mark to 18-month mark, like 2 years, a year to 2 years, you can start dosing down. And then that third year, you need to start weaning yourself off of it. Any longer than 3 years on Suboxone is way too much time. Now, everybody's recovery is different. I don't know, Tyler, if you've been in illicit drugs. I don't know if you have toxic people that you're dealing with. I don't know your situation. I'm basing it off of my situation. If you're able to do what I did, get on the Suboxone, completely get away from people, places, and things, get yourself stabilized mentally, emotionally, and financially, after 2 years, or right at 2 years, start thinking about coming off of it. And a doctor is not going to tell you this because a doctor wants to make money off of you. It's really sad that the Department of Corrections is giving inmates who are sober off of drugs, narcotics, before leaving prison to make money off of them. But that's the system that we have. And I don't agree with it because it has helped me. But did I need Suboxone? No. Could have done it without it. It helped me at the time. It's what I needed at the time. It's what I thought I needed. It's what I was being told I needed. But yeah, that Suboxone, in my opinion, it could have been a great drug. They're misusing it, in my opinion, now, and I don't love that. They turned what could have been a great assistance program into a money marketing pill. I don't agree with some inmates receiving narcotics. Let me just explain this concept, because Suboxone is a partial agonistic. That means that it is partially heroin, and it acts like heroin in the brain. So when someone who takes that, it actually gets them high for a short period of time. Now, after they continue to take the medication, they get what is called a ceiling effect, which means that they no longer get high. They're just normal. They can't get high. When we're talking about people that substance abuse problems going through the Department of Corrections, they've been sentenced to time in prison. They need to actually be receiving drug treatment, not narcotics. They need to be going through program. They need to be taught people, places, and things. 12-step. They need to come up with a recovery plan. They need to come up with, a home plan, somewhere for them to go that's safe and away from drugs when they get out of prison. This is what they should be working on. But you know what the Department of Corrections does? They said, oh, put this Suboxone under your tongue. Take this pill, and we'll send you home with a prescription. And when you make it, we'll make sure that you meet with a doctor, and we'll cover all of the cost. And these were people that got sober in prison. They were clean. They could back out on the streets sober. But instead of sending them out sober, the Department of Corrections starts them on Suboxone, sends them home with a script and a doctor, and gets them re-hooked on Suboxone. This is what our government's doing in the prison system right now. They are killing addicts, in my opinion. Because let me tell you what happened. These people get out with this prescription. They're having a bad day. They're on Suboxone. They hit up one of their old dope dealers, and then they go get high and die. This is more common than the government will ever admit to. It's not right. And they've done it through Suboxone, and they're killing people through Suboxone. That is not proper treatment. Putting an addict on a narcotic, hoping that it deters them from using other narcotics, is stupid as hell. Statistically speaking, we know that it actually does the opposite. It actually entices them to use illicit drugs. It breaks my heart. It really does. And I was all for Suboxone at one point in time, but I'm not for it now. And this is why. Because the government is killing people with it, in my opinion. And it does. Tyler, let it do its purpose and kick that shit to the curb. It's done its purpose. You've been clean almost 2 years. That's a huge defeat, or a huge feat in itself. I would start dosing down. And matter of fact, what I would do is I would take that 16, and I personally would see if I could go on an 8. Because that's just, I would see if I could go on an 8. I'd pop an 8 instead of 2 8s, and I would see if I could go on an 8. And I would see how that made me feel, and I would see if I could do that consistently. If you can take an 8, you can, do that for a month and then dose down to a half a strip, do that for a month, dose down to, a quarter of a strip, do that for a month, and then the real fun starts. That's when you need to take about 3 weeks of super hydration. I'm talking you need to be drinking like a half a gallon to a gallon of water every day, 3 weeks prior to no longer taking your Suboxone. You need to be drinking protein, Ensure. You need to be making sure that you're getting vitamins. I would go ahead and start taking magnesium and calcium. That's going to help with the RLS. Your arms and joints won't hurt if you have that magnesium and calcium in you 2 to 3 weeks prior to the detox. There's so much stuff I could help you with, but I'm not a medical professional, so don't take my advice. I'm going off of personal experience, what helped me get through it, and it's been trial and error. I've probably tried to come off the Suboxone a dozen times. So, and I've successfully came off of it probably 3 or 4 times. So, I'm speaking from personal experience, but I will tell you that medical professionals are not geared towards helping, in my opinion, helping addicts help themselves, because they want it to be a revolving door, because that's how they make money. And so, in my experience, your best bet is to get your own at home. I would not advise anyone to go to a rehab. You're going to get the best medical care. They're not going to give you Ensure. You're not getting Gatorade. You're not even going to get a motherfucking cup to drink water out of. Medical is not up to par with addiction. Like, how can I say this? Addiction, when we're getting people into rehabs, there's many outlets many needs that we need to get met. And the basic need, the main need is overlooked, which is their physical well-being in the moment when they are walking into a rehab. Rehabs are disrespectful. Patient care is shit right now. Bedside manner is shit right now. Rehabs are not the place that you want to go to detox off Suboxone or heroin, in my opinion. I mean, some people have to have that medically. You're not going to get much medical care. That's my point. You're better off on your fucking own at home where you can be comfortable and have the medical supplies that you need to help yourself. Because you're going to get that in rehab. They're not going to have anything, no liquid IVs for you, babe. They don't care if you lie in the corner and die and throw up and shit all over yourself. They don't care. Who told you that you need to taper down with methadone? You need to taper down Suboxone with methadone? Please tell me that's not what you mean, because I would gasket if that's what you mean. Seriously, that's the most craziest thing I've ever heard. It's what you mean. Yeah. The government is making millions, if not billions of dollars off Suboxone right now, and they're giving it to see patients like damn Department of Correction inmates like it's going out of style. Oh, and another reason they do that is to keep tabs on who's an addict. Yeah, imagine that data that they get from making inmates go dose at a clinic every morning. Imagine the data. You know? Like, I can't even put into words what I know. Seriously, I can't. It's so big that I can't even put it into words. But best believe, 50 years from now, we're going to be talking about how the Department of Corrections killed a bunch of people with Suboxone. Allegedly, in my opinion. It's not the Suboxone that's killing them. It's the getting them strung back out on something else, which is leading to street drugs. Yo, it's so cold. It's cold outside. Yeah, I would definitely try to take maybe not a 16, maybe a 1.5. See how you feel. If that feels good after maybe like a month, then take an 8. I did it quick. I literally tapered in like a month. I was like, I'm done with this shit. And so when I went to jail, I was like on a 0.1 a milligram. So it was easy to go through the motions of it all because I wasn't on a high dosage. Yo, that nail file that I got yesterday is so bad I cannot do my nails with it. What else do they have? I might have to go to Walmart. I don't want to. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, I like that too. Peach. Does this work? Try that. I wish there was more nail files. I need to paint them, but I don't know what color I want. Damn it. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Y'all, I need an energy drink. Look at me. I look so rough. Jesus. Sorry. Didn't mean to scare you there. I look like I just crawled about the crypt. Listen. Some days you have good days. Some days you don't. Try this. Probably make my stomach hurt, but we'll try it anyways. Good, how are
I'm
you?
good.
Got cold again.
It has. Everybody's telling me. You're supposed to be pretty warm.
Tuesday, too.
Yeah, we want it pretty now, though.
That must want to tell you what, I like that look.
Oh,
It's cold.
oh, it's wake up, it's cold look.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's good one, I like it.
No cash back.
Need a receipt?
Yeah, actually. Typically I wouldn't, but
That's okay. No problem.
thank
Have a
you.
good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I wish you good luck coming off that stuff. It's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But, I mean, that could have been mind over matter. I don't know. I think when you've been through it so many times, you kind of learn what your body needs in that moment that you're feeling like shit and you're detoxing. You're like, oh, I haven't drank water in 2 days. No wonder I feel like ass. So you're like, I need to drink some water. But then you go to drink water and you're throwing up. Like, it's the worst feeling. Like, you don't know what you want. You don't know what you need. Like, it's the worst. And I think that patient care, when people are going into rehab, I think there needs to be more focusing on the immediate basic needs. Most of these people that are going into rehab, you know, they're going through it. They're either, well, if they're coming off of uppers, let's say they've been on a cocaine binge and damn doing blow for 2 weeks, you know, they're going to need different kind of care than somebody that's coming off of heroin who's been asleep for 5 years on dope. The patient care is different for different drugs, number one. Most rehabs don't give a shit. They don't care. And I'm talking about state facilities. I've never been to a private rehab because I've never had insurance. So I don't come from money. But patient care, like when people are coming in, they need, if they're coming off of meth or heroin or alcohol, they need to sleep as much as possible. They probably haven't been, they've been methed out for damn weeks and ain't had no sleep. They don't let you do that in rehab. They don't care that you feel like shit. Yeah, I can't put it into words, but there needs to be a bigger focus on patient care with people. They're getting their basic needs met when they first come into, as opposed to what happens in these places. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. I've never used one of these before. Let me not cut my finger off. That thing's sharp. It's supposed to be a cuticle cutter, but I don't know how it works, so I'm not going to mess with it because I'll cut my finger off. Yeah, oh, I need to put a napkin down. I don't want to do my nails. Getting them fed, hydrated, you know, checking their vitals. All of that stuff needs to be done before anything else. They need a meal. They need to, at the very least, be able to start processing food again. Like, there's so many physical ailments that come with drugs that rehabs completely overlook. And they don't give a crap. They don't give a crap. They treat you like shit from the time you go walk in to the time you leave. I had some of my worst hospital experiences have been in rehabs. Their patient care is trash. I don't care if you starve. Like I said, they don't even give you a water to get a glass to get water. You can't even have a cup to go to the sink to fill up with water, and you're coming off of drugs. You ain't ate in a week. You can't eat every time you even think about throw up. And they don't care. You say, hey, I'm dehydrated. I probably need an IV. They'll laugh in your face. That's the kind of patient care you get in a damn state facility rehab. And then wonder why the front doors are revolving doors. But patient care is bullshit. They don't even address the root cause of the problem. And when a patient comes in going through something such as a CPTSD trigger, and they're going through a CPTSD episode, people are not even trained to recognize betrayal trauma. They're not even trained to recognize how this person is going through what they're going through. But they're trained medical professionals. and see Chapel Hill. Yeah, there needs to be a focus on getting people on their feet and then addressing the root cause of addiction and then teaching them how to live without drugs and alcohol. Getting them a support system set up, changing people, places, and things, because that's 90% of it. That's another thing. I don't know why there's not a huger focus on people, places, and things. No one in my ever has told me, hey, you probably need to get away from the person that's popping you full of damn heroin, Brooke. Medical professionals, therapists, clinical psychologists that saw me, what I was going through. Not one of them told me, you need to get away from your abuser. I look back and I don't understand. Is it that they wanted to hurt me? They didn't want to help me? Or are they just unqualified to be in their position? I'd like to be kind and just say they're unqualified to be in their position. I don't want to think that anyone would intentionally hurt me. Although, we've learned a lot this year. It happens a lot more than I've even mentioned. But yeah, you're surprised at the cruelty of humanity sometimes. People, humankind. I'm trying to just shapen these out now. I want a square. The thumb looks good. I want them kind of shorter. That's a little long, but I'm going to paint them, I think. Yeah, when you go into rehab down in Chapel Hill, I can tell you exactly what they do. They walk you through, you show up and you say, hey, I'm looking to get clean. And they're like, okay. And then there'll be several staff members that'll come out and talk to you, ask what you're coming off of. You know, when you started using drugs, the date of your last use. Most people that are going into rehab, they get loaded right before you walk in the door. So, you know, they're high as hell. They coming in, they, you know, either tweaking out or falling over, about to die from damn overdoses. It can be hectic. I'm sure it's a hectic job. And I'm not trying to bash any, you know, addiction counselors, therapists, you know, people in the addiction field. But I will say that in the past 5-6 years, services have went down tremendously when it comes to addiction and, you know, the treatment of people who are suffering with mental health and addiction. Services have just, like all systems are broken down, you know. So the medical care that you receive in these types of facilities are pretty much non-existent. At this point, when you go through these, they ask you questions. They'll usually put you in a room. They'll strip search you, search all your property. You can't have any of your personal property. They put you in scrubs. And then they put you in a room. And you don't see them again until the next morning when they're waking you up to get breakfast. And it's more like a jail as opposed to, in my opinion, what should be more of a community-based feel. It's more like a jail as opposed to like a rehab. They feed you 3 times a day. You have very little staff interaction. You might do some groups, but, you know, people are so sick coming off of substances. It's not really like a lot of people can be active in group when they're coming off of heroin and methamphetamine, you know? Like, it's just really sad. I think that when people are going to these detox facilities, there needs to be a focus on getting them hydrated and feeling the best that they can physically. And there's none of that takes place when you go to a detox facility. They don't give you water. They don't help with anything. You are left in a room to feel bad by yourself. And there are so many things we have that are not a narcotic that we could give patients to help them through withdrawals and to ease and combat the effects of coming off of some drugs. And I don't understand. And well, I do know. It would involve money. Vitamins apparently are so expensive. Calcium and magnesium would be so expensive. It's about money. They don't want to pay for vitamins. They don't want to pay for Ensure. They don't want to pay for bottles of water. How sad. Then we wonder why they get out of that crappy environment and they go straight back to drug. There is no treatment in addiction treatment anymore. In my... So sad. All the lives lost because they just didn't know how to help themselves. They went to rehab. They wanted the help. But the rehab treated them like shit. Wouldn't even give them a glass to get water out of a fucking nasty sink to drink. Imagine going to medical professionals and asking for help. And you can't even get... You're so dehydrated and malnourished that you can't even wash your ass. And you can't even get a glass of water in a hospital. Sad. So sad. What they need is IVs immediately when they come through the door. If it was me, first question, what were you on? When was your last use? How long have you been using this time? Get in that chair, we're going to hook you up to an IV. If you're coming off of heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, alcohol, you're getting an IV. You need it. You need saline, you need vitamins. Double. You know what I mean? But it's expensive. That's why they don't do it. It's sad. It's really sad. And we all know that I went and got a fucking IV because I don't get. I knew I was getting clean and wasn't nobody gonna fucking stop me. And if I gotta find somebody to pay for this shit today, I'm at $389 clean. So are you gonna help me get clean? Or are you gonna stand in my way? You pumped me full of dope for 8 fucking years. You gave me hundreds of dollars to go kill myself. Can you come up with $380 for me to get this fucking bag of saline? Please. He did it. If he ever did anything for me, that's the one good thing that one of my exes did for me. It's only because I fucking twisted his arm. But anyways, that was what I did. I went for almost a week and got bags of saline every day out of pocket. And every day that I would go and get that IV, I'd feel about 50% better. When you're going without food for days, weeks, coming off of a substance like that, it's the worst feeling. And I think that there needs to be more attention to patient care when they're coming through the door of these facilities as opposed to stuffing them in a fucking room and forgetting about them. But call me crazy. I just know what got me clean and what's kept me clean. I do like this nail file. This one's metal. I've never had one like this before. I don't know how I feel about it on the tops of my nails. Let's see. I'm trying to do this over a napkin so I don't get this shit everywhere. Oh, I actually like it. Maybe this is what I needed all along. I don't know how that works. I never done methadone. Well, I did do methadone once, but it didn't stick. I've been clean off of everything for 5 years almost. So, I don't drink alcohol like that anymore. I don't smoke weed like that anymore. Recently quit that when October of last year. It's been a slow progression. Sometimes I think that people who've been on substances for a long time actually need other substances to help get off of substances. I know that sounds crazy. I know. But marijuana can be very beneficial to people who are coming off of substances, specifically heroin and methamphetamine. You know, I think that medicinal use for marijuana is acceptable. I think that marijuana has helped a lot of people. I think that marijuana is a much better option than alcohol. However, I would not want, my kids doing it. I don't want my kids smoking dope. I don't want my kids drinking alcohol. So I would advise against it. But, when we're about Suboxone, coming off of Suboxone, heroin, methadone, stuff like that, marijuana can assist you in coming off of substances. And sometimes it's needed. I know when I was coming off of heroin, getting on the Suboxone, which is a whole task in itself, I used a lot of marijuana, specifically gummies, because they help with the DTs tremendously. Tremendously. Do not drink alcohol if you're coming off Suboxone or heroin. Regret it. It will intensify all of your withdrawals. Ask how I know. So I got one hand done. I need to like find some. Ooh, I love it when they're sharp. Oh, gotta be careful. I'll cut my face. $30 milligrams is not bad, but it's still going to be a pain in the ass because of the fact that methadone is the same thing as heroin. That's the difference. See, Suboxone is a partial agonist, and antagonistic. Methadone is full-fledged heroin. That's the sad part. See, that was the government's way to keep account of all of addicts in the 80s and 90s. Methadone was the first time that we saw the government giving out drugs, okay? So, like that, in that form, heroin. Methadone is almost identical to the same as heroin. It's almost identical, okay? Works the same in the brain, works the same in the body, does the same. You're going to have the same withdrawals. Methadone, in my opinion, is just as bad as heroin. And it's really sad that our government ever allowed people to have access to it in the quantities and the way that they do. People have died. Anna Nicole Smith died on it. Like, methadone is very, very dangerous. And almost, I'd be willing to bet it can be almost dangerouser than heroin. Methadone is very, very potent. So coming off of methadone, because it acts like heroin in the brain, you're going to have the same withdrawal effects as if off of heroin. Methadone is not easy to come off of. Small dose or big dose. It doesn't matter if you're on 130 or if you're on 30. It's going to feel the same because that shit is potent. And I'm speaking from experience. I was on methadone before I went to prison in 2009. They put me in the methadone program. I tried it once or twice, and then I tried it again many years later. I don't remember when. Methadone never worked for me. I don't like methadone, but methadone was a way for the government to keep up with drug addicts 20, 30 years ago. Suboxone is the new way to do that. That's why they're promoting it. It's a way for them to collect data. It's a way for them to know what's going on with everybody. Do you know how much personal information they ask you when you walk into a clinic to get Suboxone? They ask you everything. From your parents' physical history, to your physical history, to your drug history, to if you're a criminal. They get so much personal information. It's a way for the government to keep up with drug addicts. And in my opinion, they're killing people because they're getting them strung back out after they're already clean. Why are we giving addicts drugs when they're already sober off of drugs? I don't know. I mean, I do know. Money. Money. Makes me sick. This whole damn world is just crazy. We're living in the Twilight Zone. Yeah, I think that there needs to be a shift to patient care. You go into these places, like I said, they put you in a room, and then breakfast comes, and then you might group, and the group is some bullshit. It's some person that got some certificate after like a year, and then they come to the rehab to work, and then they just pick up some stupid book, and then they read out of it, and then they want you to like go around in a circle and say some shit. I could put a better group together that was more beneficial to recovering addicts in 15 minutes than I've ever seen them do in hours, days, shift of work. It just makes no sense. The only reason that rehab has been in Chapel Hill is funding. They want money from the government. There's no patient care taking place there. The groups are bullshit. Patient care is bullshit. You can't even get a glass of water to get yourself water, but you're coming off of heroin, which is, you can literally die from dehydration and malnutrition. It's frustrating. It's sad. I see how things could get better, but it would involve money. I see how things could change. See how people could be helped. But doing things the right way is more than doing things the wrong way for a profit. It's unfortunate. It really is. First of all, if they're coming off of uppers, they need saline and a meal and some rest. If they're coming off of heroin, alcohol, suppressants, depressants, anything like that, they're not going to be able to eat. They're going to be shit brains out, throwing up everywhere. They're going to need saline at least once a day. There's different levels of care, different sides, you know, but they don't do that. When these people come in, they treat them like shit until they leave. And it's all about money. Nobody's receiving care. And that's why that door is a revolving door of addicts who keep relapsing. And they want it that way so that they can generate in for year to come, year to come, year to come. It's fucked up. And it infuriates me because I see where things have gone wrong. And I see how things could be better. But once I can't do anything about it. I mean, not now. That's where school comes into play. Nobody's going to take me serious until I finish my degree. And I'm aware. You know, nobody even ever taught me about people, places, and things when I was in rehab. I actually learned that on my own through NA. And I'm so grateful to the NA people that have helped me on my journey when I first got clean. Because I did like 90 meetings in 90 days. And I did that by myself on my own. Because I knew that it would help me. And I learned so much. People, places, and things. And that is 90% of your recovery. 90%. What if I told you that you could stay clean for forever and never have to worry about relapsing if you just changed people, places, and things for good, indefinitely? You never look back. A lot of people are incapable of doing that because they have relationships. And I understand that. But that's why you teach people the importance of healthy relationships as opposed to the unhealthy, toxic relationships that they're currently having to revel in because that's what feels normal to them. You teach them a different way of thinking. You introduce them to normal, non-toxic, you know. People need to be taught how to love themselves, how to have confidence. Like, you'd be surprised at how people are really suffering right now. And none of that is taught in rehab. None of it. If somebody would have told me when I was 18, struggling with drugs, that if I just left that environment, changed everything, stopped talking to everybody, you know, that was doing drugs and getting me involved in drugs, you know, things might have been different for me. But nobody ever told me that. Nobody guided me in that direction. And that's what rehabs are supposed to be for. That's what, you know, treatment facilities are supposed for. You're supposed to teach people how to help themselves. You're supposed to gear them towards a healthier lifestyle. That was never done for me. Actually a miracle that I'm even clean when I really am saying this out loud. It had to have come from God. That's the only honest explanation because everything has worked against me. And nobody taught me shit. Yeah, they don't teach you nothing. They just sit back and collect funding. And actually their director, her name's Millie. I don't know, man. I don't know. Pretty much, she shouldn't be where she's at. I don't know the circumstances of her hiring, but I will tell you that she is not only mature enough to be in the position that she's in, but she's not educated enough. She doesn't know enough about patient treatment and what should be going down in a rehab. And that's part of the reason that facility in Chapel Hill so poorly ran is because of her. It's really sad. I came in, I was going through a bout of what I now know is called betrayal trauma. It's when you have everything that you've worked so hard for stolen from you. We typically see this in marriages. A spouse will cheat spouse and then maybe steal all the finances type of thing. Betrayal trauma. It leaves you in a state of shock that you can't even function, okay? Very common thing, very common trauma, right? I go in, I'm suffering from betrayal trauma, but I did not know what this was at the time. I'm manic, I'm depressed, I'm feeling suicidal in a sense, hopeless, not suicidal, but and I'm explaining to these people everything that just happened. I said, yeah, I, spent my life savings, I invested into this Roth and da-da-da-da-da-da. I had this stolen, I'm explaining things. And any trained medical professional, actually, when we're talking about mental health services and addiction services, they should have been able to immediately recognize that my mania was coming from betrayal trauma. However, that didn't happen. They actually said that she said that she thought that I was bipolar. So she thought that I needed a health care, which did me a favor because I didn't want to be there anyways. And they sent me to Chapel. Well, that was a fucking mistake because they're even worse off than the rehab. God, it's so sad what's happened to this country. Anyways, she said she thought I was bipolar. Well, they get me over to the hospital. I'm not bipolar. And they're like, nah, you're not bipolar. But we want to try some medications on you. Bad idea. Anyways, my point is, to be the director, operator of a rehab, I just feel like you need to know the basics of human psychology to be in that position. If you have a patient that's coming in who is not on drugs, and I wasn't on drugs at the time, I was actually going there for mental health services because it's a 2-in-1, which is also problematic. But anyways, I was going there for services, and they were not even able to identify through an hour of a discussion of me telling them what was going on. They were still not able to identify the key markers of trauma. That could have went really bad for me, you guys. I could have ended up in a fucking state hospital strapped to a fucking gurney getting damn fed horse tranquilizer 3 times a day. Because someone was in a position of power that did not know how to do their job. It's crazy. It's just crazy. It's sad. It's sad. Because I went there for help. And quickly realized that everybody did not know how to do their job. And that scared me. You know, when you're locked back in a facility like that and you look around and realize that nobody knows what the fuck is going on, but they got you locked back, that's scary. It's a scary feeling to know that you are in uneducated, unkind hands. Very scary. Very, very scary. And you know, the crazy thing is I met that woman 10 years ago and she was a simple caseworker there. And she wasn't even a caseworker. She was like some standing group counselor. And then I come back 10 years later when I'm clean off of heroin. Now I'm going through a mental health crisis. And all of a sudden she's like the director. And it wasn't even 10 years later. It was just a few years later. Weird. Weird. Anyways, if y'all want me to go to school to run that place one day, somebody that cares, that wants to focus on patient care and actual rehabilitation, I'll be your girl one day. Let me finish up this education real quick. I don't know. I feel like, you know, it's crazy because everybody's like, oh, things need to get better. Things need to get better. But then when they find out that that takes money, they're like, oh, fuck that. Never mind. And then everybody's like, well, why is everything crumbling around us? Well, you wanted to save money. Now look at everybody out here with mental health problems and fucking drug problems. Yeah, the UK, you guys are going through it. I feel so bad for you guys over there in the UK. We think we got it bad here. Look at damn in the UK. Y'all got immigration problems, crime problems. Same shit we got going on here, but just a little bit worse in my opinion. Hell, they'll lock you up for saying the wrong thing over there in the UK nowadays. Literally. Show up with a fucking warrant. Something you done said on Facebook. We got a warrant for your arrest. Like, that shit's wild. But in the United States, you can threaten to R-word a woman, put her life in actual danger, and the damn FBI is like, yeah, you got to call state and local law enforcement. We can't help you with that. It's crazy. Shit's so ass backwards. The whole world, we're all living in the Twilight Zone. All living in the Twilight Zone. Yeah, I know it sucks, Matt. I've always worked, and whatever is going on in this economy right now, a lot of good people that want to work are not being allowed to work, and it's crazy. I think that it's important to have people working in addiction that that are there for the right reasons, because those are some of the most damaged people. Not all people that do drugs have trauma, but most drugs have been through traumatic shit. They've had a hard life. And I just don't think you should mingle people that don't care about people like that with people that are trying to get clean. We have too many people out here in positions of power that know nothing about addiction. You know, that woman, that director they got down there in Chapel Hill, she ain't never been no damn drug addict. She don't know what the fuck she's doing. I just feel like that's one of them things when we're talking about addiction and people working in the addiction recovery field. You see a lot of ex-addicts who are now in recovery working in that field, and I am all for that. That's what we need more of, because it's one of those things, in my opinion, you've got to walk in those shoes to completely understand what it's like to be physically addicted to a substance. You have to go through it and experience it to have some sort of empathy and compassion for it sometimes. I see a lot of people that they ain't never smoked dope or drank alcohol, but they want to, say that addicts just want to do drugs. That's not true. Not all drug addicts want to be shitty drug addicts. Are there some that just want to live that way? Absolutely. There's a great portion that want to continue to do drugs. That's not who I want to help, though. If they don't want help, then I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But it's sad because there's a lot of people that do want help and they just don't know how to do it. And then they go and ask for help, and the rehab treats them like shit. And then that deters them asking for help again. But to the general public, most people would think that there's an outlet for addicts to go get help if they want it. And I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's a lie. It's a lie. Sad. Yeah, I think that there needs to be a focus on their basic needs being met when they come into rehab. And then, after they are holding down food and their vitals are normal and they're not going through extreme DTs, then can focus on treatment, psychological, long-term, plan. But that's not what happens. I mean, they don't even let you get your bearings before. I just can't even put it into words. They don't even let you breathe before they're kicking you out the door. Because they got to get more money. They only want to keep you for like 2-3 days, and then they want to kick you back out on the street. Hope relapse so you'll come back and they'll get more funding. They got to have them beds available if somebody needs one so they can get funding. So it's just a revolving door of bullshit. If I left it up to that rehab to get me clean years ago, I wouldn't be clean right now. It was only because of myself that I got clean. That credit is owed all to me. I had every outlet working against me. And I'm pretty sure most people thought I'd be dead by now. Stay tuned, motherfuckers. We just getting started. Stay tuned. My life has just begun. I knew I wanted to be clean, but I didn't know for a long time why I wanted to be clean. It took me a long time to realize I just wanted to live. It took me months of being sober to even realize that, months group and NA and AA for me to even be able to recognize why. I knew I wanted to be clean. I knew I didn't want to use drugs, but I didn't know why. I didn't know where it came from, that intent or initiative to get clean. I didn't know where it stemmed from, and it took me months of being off of heroin for it to even click in my brain that I simply just wanted to live. That's how long it took me to realize why I wanted to be clean. But yet we throw these people in rehab. We don't even give them water or food or proper care. And then they're there for a few days and we kick them back out on the street. We say that they have a treatment plan, but we don't teach them how to execute that treatment plan. And they fall back out into drug use. It took me months of heroin to even figure out why I wanted to be clean. And we expect these people to just pick up sobriety in 2 or 3 days and stick to it. Once again, I think we put too much on people too quickly. Just like with the youth, our young teens, our high schoolers, our college kids. We do the same thing to freaking drug addicts and people that have mental health problems. We expect too much too quickly. I remember when I got out of jail for more crimes I didn't commit. I just got those charges dismissed. Thank God. Thank God there's still people with common sense left in the fucking world. I won't lie that them attorneys and district attorneys and that whole courthouse, even though the cops done me dirty, the courthouse made up for it. And it gave me a little hope. You know, maybe not every damn courthouse is corrupt. Maybe there are a few people left with common sense that can see through the manipulative bullshit of others. It gave me hope. But I remember getting out of jail and I was coming off Suboxone. And I remember everybody coming at me in the comments and you know, nobody would allow me time to just process what I'd fucking been through. Y'all, not y'all, but like people wanted explanations for everything. How'd you get out of jail? Why'd you go to jail? You know, everybody wanted to just bombard me and they wanted what they wanted right fucking then. And no, it's like everybody forgot that I was coming off of fucking heroin. Suboxone is half heroin. So I was physically, mentally coming off of heroin. And because I was coming off of Suboxone. And I remember everybody coming at me and nobody would allow me time just to process what I was living through at the moment. And I remember having so much anxiety because people wouldn't just let me be. And I just needed to be because I was still going through motherfucking withdrawals. It was a miracle I was even walking and talking. We put way too much on people that we want something from. We want them to get clean. We want them to get themselves on track. We want them to be productive members of society. But we want it in an instant. We don't want to give them time, a year, 6 months, to go through the motions, and it's not okay. Addicts need a lot more time and attention than anyone cares to acknowledge. And just like the youth, we put too much on them too quickly. It takes everybody different time and procedure to process things in life. And once again, most of these people are damaged. They are hurt people who are hurting themselves, who are hurting their families through, you know, their drug use. And there's so much shame and guilt that comes behind that. And everybody processes things differently. And I just think that rehabs, we need to come up with a better plan. Because people are out here suffering. They want the help. They just ain't getting it. And it ain't right. And they need time. Even when I got clean of heroin, I remember being like 2-3 weeks off of heroin, everybody wanting me to go back to work and just jump into everything immediately. And I'm just like, y'all don't understand. I still feel like shit physically. Not to mention mentally what I'm going through. Everybody was rushing me to get back to life. And it hadn't even been 3 weeks since I'd come off of heroin and switched to Suboxone. You're still feeling like ass. You feel like shit for months. And they were rushing me to get back to my life. It's like they didn't give me time to just function. And I'm actually, if I was going to relapse, it probably wouldn't have been in those first few weeks when people were fucking annoying me and not letting me try to recover. It takes time. Y'all, it's so cold, I don't even feel like getting out the damn car. Yes, absolutely. I went into precipitated withdrawals like 6 or 7 days, I do believe, after I came off the heroin. That's another thing. Rehabs, when you go to the rehab in Chapel Hill, they immediately introduce Suboxone into your system. That is a no-no. That's a red flag that a rehab does not need to be open. You are putting everybody at fucking risk when you do that. If you take Suboxone coming off of heroin and you do not allow the receptors in your brain to clean themselves off from the heroin, what happens is you go into this thing called precipitated withdrawals. And what it is it actually amplifies the heroin withdrawals. So whatever you were feeling coming off of heroin is amplified about 10 times because the Suboxone has been introduced to your system. Precipitated withdrawals can last anywhere from hours to days. It is the worst feeling in the world. And rehabs that I have visited, I have to kind of take over with my patient care, like me. They'll be like, oh, when was your last use? And I'm like, before I got here. And they're like, okay, well, we'll give you Suboxone in 48 hours. And I'm like, no, I was on heroin for X amount of years. We're going to need to wait a week. And they would argue with me. Then they would give me the Suboxone after 48 hours and it would send me into precipitated withdrawals. So there came a point after visiting this rehab so many times that I had to take over and be like, listen, I ain't taking that damn medicine for a week. You know your body better than anybody else. Medical professionals out here, doctors, clinical psychologists, very few of them have actually experienced active addiction. And once again, in my opinion, you have to live through addiction to wholeheartedly understand it. And that is why it is imperative that we get people clean so that they can help other addicts. That's what's been happening for decades. That's what AA and NA does. You know, it's worked. It's worked. So, that precipitated withdrawal is nothing to play with. That can absolutely make a patient discharge themselves and go right back out into drug use. For a rehab to be introducing Suboxone at the 48-hour mark is not only irresponsible, in my opinion, but it's medical malpractice because you are putting patients in danger of relapsing. I really wish that I would have grew up to went to like medical school or something, y'all, because I'm not a very smart woman, and if I know all of this and I ain't never damn been to school, I don't understand how people who went to college for 4 to 10 years don't understand this. And the only thing that it could be is that they've never walked in the shoes. You know, to become a doctor, a clinical psychologist, it takes 10, 12 years. They wasn't doing drugs, you know what I mean? So there's a disconnect in the medical and addiction. There's a disconnect going on. That's all I fucking know. Because patient care is shit when it comes to addiction. Patient care is shit. That's another thing. Mental health services. That needs to be front and center when they're coming through the door. Matter of fact, when we put the IV in them and we have them stationed, get in their bag of saline, then we can go through and start checking off mental health boxes. Why this is not done, I don't know. But it's not. It's not. Patient care is bullshit, you guys. And this is why these things have gotten worse. This is why we have more people dying from drug overdoses. This is why we have people out here acting a fool, killing people, going to jail, like methed out of their mind. This shit is out of control. I did drugs in, my 18, 19, 20, in my 20s. I've never seen it this bad. I mean, people are looking the worst that I've ever seen them look out here struggling in addiction. That methamphetamine, people are just dying. It's sad. I feel like, I don't know. Should we make medical doctors go do methamphetamines for a week as part of a class project? I don't know. Maybe we should. Maybe we should. Maybe we should. I mean, MK Ultra, we've done it before. Should we make addiction specialists go live a life of crime for a week on the streets so that they can live in those shoes, so that they can get a better understanding of what patients need. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed, you know? Let's talk about the logistics of it, and I might be down because, you know, patient care is lacking and things need to change. And with me being uneducated, I don't know how I can help people, and it sucks, you know, because I want to on so many levels. Like, I would love to help people in addiction. I would love to help, you know, social services, you know, system somehow get fixed. The court system. There's so many areas that I could see myself landing in, and I don't know where I'm going yet, but we might find out tomorrow. We might find out tomorrow because I got a school thing. I'm a psychologist who used to be addicted to crack heroin, spent some time homeless, drug addicts during the worst of it, and it helped me empathize with patients. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Well, thank you. I want to get better, and that's why I'm gonna try to do some classes, college courses at the community college. Yeah, I think that doctors and psychologists are overworked right now. We need them so bad. Oh, yeah. Why are doctors quitting medicine? Apparently, there was just an article that dropped in July. They're having a doctor problem. So this is what I'm saying, like, whew, all the systems are broke down. So, you know, with them not having the amount of doctors that they need, that means that doctors are overworked. Their patient list are probably, their body's long, and they don't have the time nor energy to devote to really helping anybody when they have so many people to help. Sad. 40% of eye doctors make an exit. What? They need eye doctors? They need, what is that, ophthalmologist? If that's right, I deserve a point for that. I don't even know where that came from. Yeah, between 2021 and 2022, when asked about the likelihood of leaving their current organization within 2 years, 40% of physicians said that they had a moderate interest in leaving. Not good. They are overworked. They make good money, though, so they ain't underpaid. That's for damn sure. They ain't underpaid. It also showed, this was a survey by the AMA, and it said this survey also showed that 46% of physicians expressed feeling valued by their organization to a great extent or to a moderate extent. By contrast, 18% did not feel valued at all by their organization, and their organization probably being whoever they work for. That is important because the sense of feeling valued drops. Physicians' intent to leave rises. Yeah, so well, imagine going to medical school. Let's think about this from a doctor's perspective. If they really went into the industry to help people, and then they go through medical school 7 to 10 years approximately, depending on what you're going through, and it could be longer than that. Let's say you do all of that work with the intent of helping people, and then you finish your education, you do your undergrad, you do your residency, you do all of that, and then they drop you into a field, and you quickly realize that the machine that you're working for is not intended to help people, but to produce money. That might deter you from wanting to stay in that field. That's all I'm saying. And there looks like in January, the first of, physicians who, they're saying that they're burnt out, their dissatisfaction with the job, and that a lot of physicians are looking to leave, and that there's been a physician problem. It's looking like 6 to 7% of American physicians leave their practice each year, with this turnover rate continuing to rise. Oh, Lord, this might be problematic in the future if this is anything like the job market, honey. What happens when we don't have any more physicians? I know one thing. I wouldn't want to work in a damn hospital. That's for damn sure. I don't like those kinds of settings. They make me feel uncomfortable. Hospitals in general give me the hibby-jibbies. I didn't plan on making it past 30. Me either. I think I surprised a lot of people. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody probably thought that I'd be dead by now. I like this nail file. I don't know if I like it for the tops of the nails. I'll have to see after I wash my hands. I want to paint them, but like... not right now. I need to check my email and see what's going on with this job thing. Yes, I still be getting emails on Saturdays and Sundays. I know. Scotch. Yeah, I wish I could, like, buy a house and open up a private rehab. You know what I mean? I really do. It'd be expensive. It'd be one of those things y'all gotta have insurance. You know what I mean? Because just the saline alone would run you $500 nowadays. And they're going to need that a bag a day, plus the vitamins and minerals. So, and with that, each day they'll get around 50% better than the day before, which is crazy. Crazy. I mean, it's really a miracle drug for heroin addicts. And it's completely overlooked. It's the malnutrition. It's the fact that they're throwing up, coming off of the substance, the fact that they can't eat, the fact that they can't drink water. Introducing the saline with the vitamins replaces everything that they've missed in a meal and or water, and they immediately feel better. And with that, the receptors on their brain, the dope starts falling off the receptors on their brain. Not only that, all of the toxins in their liver and kidney start getting flushed out by the saline. So it actually speeds up the withdrawal process probably by 3 weeks. That's been my own personal experience. And this could be done in rehabs across the world, but it's not because it's expensive. And I get that. But aren't rehabs expensive? Isn't it like upwards of $30,000 to go stay at a private rehab? So what's the excuse? You're already stealing these people's hard-earned money, insurance, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, there needs to be a shift in patient care when it comes to addiction services. There's ways to help people. Vitamins, you know, magnesium and calcium is not that expensive. Introducing that to a patient immediately when they come into the rehab is going to help with their... Matter of fact, in some patients, it takes all of their RLS away. All of it. Some patients report that after taking the magnesium and calcium, their arms and legs no longer hurt when they're coming off the heroin. Why do rehabs not give this? Great question. I don't know. Money? How expensive can 2 little vitamins be? And if it would aid in a person staying clean and getting sober, and that's why they're here, you would think that they would be doing it anyways. Ensure, Gatorade. These are things that, yeah, they can get expensive, but when we're talking about a patient's insurance picking up the cost, you would think that a person would be getting Ensure water and Gatorade anyway, but I can assure you that that is not the case. You know how hard it is to get a bottle of water in a rehab? Pretty fucking hard. Pretty fucking hard. Damn near impossible. You're probably going to be running to the bathroom to drink out of the sink. It's preposterous to think that you can't even get a bottle of water in a rehab when you are detoxing off of drugs. I cannot make this shit up if I tried. I have no reason to lie to you guys about any of this. It's sad. It's sad what the world has came to. But I can tell you this is why people are not getting clean, and this is why they're not recovering. They're not even getting their basic needs met, much less treatment. And that's my point, Troy. The reason that that's my point. And you might ask, well, why wouldn't rehabs want to help people? Because they want it to be a revolving door of money. State rehabs are going to get federal funding, state funding for these rehabs to be open. For every bed that they fill, they get funding. They want it to be a revolving door. Matter of fact, the quicker they can get them in there and the quicker they can kick them out, the more money they're going to generate. Private rehabs, they can be upwards of $30,000. Insurance usually picks up most of that, depending on the circumstances. But, you know, those are private rehabs where they turn a profit. So also they want it to be a revolving door. I don't know. I wish that I could open up a 20-bed facility, half and half, 10 men, 10 female, completely separated, with the focus on well-being immediately. Like I said, introduce saline, vitamins, do everything to get the patient comfortable and ready for detox, detox the patient, and then start with mental health services and a plan to get them clean. And then, you know, intensive therapy while they're in the facility. And it would probably take about 28 days, about 4 weeks to get a patient stable off of heroin, and also on their feet to get their mind geared towards sobriety and what they need to do to help themselves. I would say about a month. So that's going to be expensive, you know, and this is why these systems don't exist, because it's expensive. And it's really sad to think that these systems that have been built to help people are now geared towards making money, but I can assure you that that is the case. And I've seen this with private rehabs and not private rehabs. I've personally experienced it in state rehabs, but I've also had tons of friends whose parents paid for them to go to luxury rehabs, and within months of coming home, they would relapse. Thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars down the drain. Fly them to California, fly them to Florida, you know, and they'd get home, and 2 months later, they were back on heroin. So, something's not working, clearly, you know. For me to be the only one clean out of everybody that I used to know, and me be the only ones whose parents didn't pay for rehab, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not the only ones whose parents didn't pay for rehab, but it's a miracle. It's a miracle that I'm even sober. I think that, I think it's really sad the way that halfway houses operate, because they actually work in complete opposite direction of drug facilities. It's like you tell these people to get clean, and then you tell them to go get in a halfway house, and then it's just, all systems are broken down. Do y'all know how expensive a halfway house is now? I know the ones in Greensboro are up $200. $400 to $800 per month. Over $200, it can be upwards of over $200 a week. So expensive. That is not why halfway houses started. So if you don't know what a halfway house is transitional housing from maybe the Department of Corrections to the free world, or from a rehab to the free world. It is a house, it is a communal house. Typically all men live there, or all women live there. There are no co-ed type of halfway houses. They separate the men from the women, and rightfully so. it'll be like, let's say it's a house with 4 bedrooms. They'll have like 8 men all living there together. They all have to pay $200 in rent, or $300 or $400, depending on where you are. And one person is like head of the house, and then the halfway house owner, he might have other houses, and there's program directors, and there's leaders, and it's supposed to be a community of sobriety. Keyword sobriety. Unfortunately, a lot of halfway houses, their systems are just as broken down as rehabs, and there's a lot of bad things taking place in these halfway houses, from drug use to sexual perversion to it's bad, you guys. Halfway houses are meant to be cheaper so that recovering addicts can go to their NA meetings, because you have rules that are there's rules in the house, and there's things that is expected of you. You have to be, employed and or a full-time student. You have to go to NA meetings every week. You have to submit to a drug test, and you have to pay rent. There are stipulations to living in the halfway house. They were not created to be cash cows, but for some reason they've turned into money grabs. It says on average rent is around $200 per week, or $400 to $800 per month. However, some halfway houses can cost as little as $100 per month, while others can cost over $2,000 per month. And I have not seen a halfway house for $100 a month since 2009. So that's bullshit. The ones in Greensboro started up $200 a week. I don't know how much money you make, but I couldn't afford that. And this is not the purpose of these houses. They've become cash grabs, and it's ridiculous. People are not able to even afford to live in a halfway house now. And halfway houses were invented for affordability. That was the whole purpose, was to save up money, be able to work, get yourself on your feet, up enough money to get your own place. And at the same time, be receiving outpatient treatment. It's sad what's happening to the world. Also, a little key factor in these halfway houses is halfway houses do not recognize Suboxone patients for being sober. So that means that if you are a Suboxone patient on the MAP program, which is the Suboxone treatment program, you can't even go to a halfway house because you will fail your drug test for Suboxone. And even though you have a script, halfway houses do not recognize you as being sober. I don't know if I agree with that, but they've always had that rule. So Suboxone patients, methadone patients, Subutex patients, they don't qualify for halfway houses. And I think that we should have specific houses that are running under the MAT program, specifically designed to be halfway houses for these patients. I don't understand why we don't. But I can assure you that it's probably something to do with money. Probably something to do with money. Yes, I had horrible experiences in halfway houses. I tried several. I had girls that would steal my property, girls that would steal my makeup, and then when I would say something about it, then I was the problem. I was in several fights. A lot of it stemmed from jealousy. It's not, halfway houses can be beneficial to some people, but for some people, it's not an option. I think that it depends on your agreeableness. I think it has a lot to do with your agreeableness. Are you willing to let people walk all over you and use you as a doormat and mistreat you, bully you in the place that you're calling home? Or do you want to defend yourself and have some backbone? It's one of those things where it wasn't for me. One of the houses that I was in, the head leader of the house, she was drinking all the time. She's a drunkard over in Greensboro. I could smell it on her. She started a whole fight, tried to have me arrested, and she was drunk when all of this went down, and she was the head of the house. So you could be putting yourself in a worse situation, is all I'm saying. To each their own. Not every halfway house is the same. But I will say that you have to remember that you're dealing with addicts, people who are in recovery. So they are subject at any time to relapse. That could affect your life, and it could affect your living arrangement. And it did that day for me, you know? So it was crazy. The law come. I had to get all my shit out. I was ready to go. I was like, fuck this. I cannot do this. You know, my property's being stolen. My things are being destroyed. The head of the house is drunk, accusing me of drug use, and I did not use drugs. So it's just crazy how things can happen. And you have to remember, when you're going to rehabs, mental health institutes, any place like that, halfway houses, NA meetings, you have to remember where you're at and who you're around. And I'm not saying that all drug addicts are bad, but a lot of drug addicts can be problematic, okay? Like, especially a bunch of women living in a house together, honey. That's never a good idea. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's sad. $2,000 a month. Jesus Christ. I wonder what it is in Greensboro. I feel like I looked this up like 2 years ago, and it was like $300. And I was just like, well, that's not a fucking option. How much is a halfway house for a woman in Greensboro, North Carolina? Sober living, transitional housing, permanent housing, blah, 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 blah. Findhelp.org. Let's see how much it is. Way too fucking much for anybody in my position. I'm hot, y'all. So there's a house called Mary's House in Greensboro. Provides transitional and permanent housing, life skills training, and supportive community for homeless women in recovery and substance abuse. We provide short-term housing, sober living, addiction, and recovery. I would like to call them. They're closed today, but I would like to call them. You know what I mean? And do a little digging. I might need to save this. We might can do that tomorrow. I still need to call Chapel Hill. I told you I was going to do that, and I never did it. We'll do it. We'll do it this week. I get anxiety. Okay? We were supposed to call Chapel Hill to ask them why they don't use the DSM-5 to diagnose before handing out mental health drugs. Remember? Talk about medical malpractice. I mean, it's just preposterous what's going on out here, in my opinion. I mean, do y'all not agree that shoving mental health pills down a patient's throat without properly diagnosing them is medical malpractice? Does anybody feel that way, or is it just me? Because I think that it's very dangerous to put patients on narcotics like Xanax, mood stabilizers like Wellbutrin and Depakote and Paxil. And I think that it's dangerous to give medications like that can be psycho, you know, people can go into psychosis from shit like that. I think that it's dangerous to shove that type of medication down a patient's throat without properly diagnosing them first. And I think that is medical malpractice, in my opinion. Anybody else agree with that? I mean, can we do a mental health assessment before we start shoving Xanax down everybody's throat? There used to be policy and procedure when it came to this stuff, but apparently not anymore. And this is not giving me any prices, so that leads me to believe that it's pretty fucking expensive. Let's see. I'm not finding halfway houses prices. They probably don't have them listed, y'all, because they're so damn expensive. Let's go to Mary's Rehab and see if it's on the website. I'm not getting no price. That's not good. So the broad term halfway house is used to describe temporary sober living environments that help people ease into permanent homes or situations. The term may also be used when referencing facilities for people transitioning out of prison or homelessness. And I don't, oh, here's some pricing. Nope. You got to call a number to get a price. It catfished me. Do you want to know how much halfway houses are? And then I get there and you got to call a phone number. Y'all, I'm willing to bet it's over $250 a week, which is like $1,000 a month, maybe more. And, you know, I'm not trying to be insensitive when I say this, but typically, statistically speaking, when we see people coming from a life of addiction, they're going to be starting in a lower skill job. They're going to be starting off minimum wage because they haven't been in the workforce, or, you know, education wise, they're not, you know, they don't have the experience to do other jobs at the moment because they're transitioning from addiction to, you know, a, so to speak, normal lifestyle. So they don't have the education and the skill set to be making $15 an hour. So we'd see a lot of these people that are in these transitioning houses starting out minimum wage, low skill jobs, and it would be really hard for someone making $7 an hour, you know, $5 after taxes, to save up money when they're spending their paycheck, you know, $280 a week times 4. You do the math. How much is left over after they've spent $1,000 on fucking rent? I mean, it's just a money racket, in my opinion. Yeah, me too, Crossfade. One of my probation officers, if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have I would have got cleaner. I would have went to prison. It's as simple as that. And I knew I wanted to be clean, but I just didn't have anybody to help me do that. I didn't have any help getting clean, and I didn't know how to do it. You know, there came a point where I knew I just had to detox. You know, it was as simple as that. If I can detox, then I can turn this around. And that's really the hardest part of it all. It's just finding the time to sit the fuck down somewhere and detox off the shit. That's going to be the hardest part. After you get through that, it's all Gucci. And matter of fact, even on week 2, when you're feeling like shit, there's a sense of hope that starts to, like, that fire ignites after week 1, and that fire just gets bigger and bigger inside. Even though you feel like shit, you recognize after the first week that the hardest part is behind you, and that fire that is ignited in you just gets bigger and bigger as the weeks go on, and before you know it, the withdrawal symptoms have gone. After 3 months, you can finally sleep again normally. Yeah, I knew I wanted to get clean. My PO really helped me. I literally, I will never forget how she helped me, because she could have locked me up, and she didn't. And, you know, she kind of gave me hope in myself, you know. It's like, well, why does she care? You know, it's like nobody else cares. And her caring made me care, you know, because you're so low and you hate yourself so much, and you're so embarrassed of the drugs that you've done and the way that you've behaved. And then you look at the track marks on your body and you're just ashamed. And it's hard to get over that shame and just go through the withdrawal. But if somebody has faith in you, like my PO had in me, sometimes that's all people need. And that causes them to have faith in themselves. And that little bit of hope can save. I think I told y'all last year that when I got clean, went in for mental health treatment at Chapel Hill when I was having a mental health crisis. Some lady looked at me and said, "How long have you been clean?" And I said, at that point, it had been like 3 years and some change. And I said, some years, 3 years, whatever. And she says, "I bet that was extremely hard. You should be really proud of yourself." And that was the first time that anybody had said that to me. It should not take 3.5 years for an addict to hear Congratulations. You should be fucking proud of yourself, girl. That's sad. That's sad. So things need to change. Because I should have heard that many years before I heard it. And the amount of rehabs, drug facilities, mental health therapists, the amount of professionals that I'd seen in that time. And not one of them had said, you should be proud of yourself for being alive. You're a walking fucking miracle. Every addict deserves to hear that after getting clean. And they need to hear it on a consistent basis. They need that positive affirmation on the bad days to stay clean. It's so sad how many people die because they just don't have a positive, somebody to just tell them something positive. Sometimes people just need to hear something positive, and it's enough to just ignite that fire in them to try for themselves. Meth overdose. I did not know you could die on meth. I mean, accidental. I fell out of a window while I was digging through a box backwards type of thing. But like, I did not know that you could like, maybe you can die. I believe you, but I didn't know. Can you overdose? I wonder, on methamphetamine. That's a good question because I don't know. Meth was never my drug of choice. Heroin was. An acute methamphetamine overdose occurs when someone takes this drug by accident or on purpose and has a side effect. These side effects can be life-threatening. A chronic methamphetamine overdose refers to the health effects in someone who uses the drug on a regular basis. Well, it looks like you can. I don't know how your friend passed away, and I'm so sorry. That's got to be really hard. I've lost a lot of friends to drugs. Matter of fact, the last time I went home, somebody gave me a whole damn list. Everybody I used to party with is dead. Everybody. Sad. Wow. So it looks like, so these are the ODs, the statistics on overdoses, the types of drugs. Opioids. We have 67.8% of drug deaths are opioids. Cocaine, 21.2% of overdose deaths. 21.2% is cocaine. Psychostimulants, 20.6% of overdose deaths. I didn't even know you could die on a psychostimulant. Methadone, 4%. And I told y'all methadone is dangerous. 4% of overdose deaths are methadone, and I bet you a good portion of that is prescribed. Probably the majority of it. If I was betting my right arm, I'd be willing to bet that the majority of those overdoses, they were actually prescribed methadone. That's our government damn killing people, in my opinion. I don't know. It doesn't tell me a statistic on how many die from methamphetamine. 67. Oh, well. It doesn't look like many people overdose on meth. I figured if somebody died on methamphetamine, it would be like a freak accident. Like they, were maybe in psychosis, tweaking out somewhere and got hit by a train type of thing. Or they had not eaten and they were malnourished and, they pass out from dehydration and die or something. I don't know. But apparently you can overdose on meth. The more you know. The more you know. Oh. Yeah, my therapist, Greg, helped me a lot too. I will say that he helped me a lot. My new therapist, she's into that gentle shit. She's into that gentle counseling. I don't like that. I don't. I need you to tell me. I need you to be like, you already know the fucking answers, Brooke. You've already, you know what's going on, Brooke. I need people to be tough with me. I don't need people to be like, well, I don't know, Brooke. I don't need you to beat around the bush. I just need you to hand it to me straight. And I feel like when you're dealing with addiction, that's how you need to hand it to them straight. You need to look them fuckers in the eyes and be like, look, bitch, you're going to end up dead if you don't do this. So they need tough love, you know. My therapist, she's on that gentle therapy shit. I've been with Stephanie for over a year. When I first went on with her, I almost fired her because I did not like her style of therapy. But she's from the new generation. She's probably 10 years younger than me. I don't even think her brain's fully developed yet, but she's a good therapist. She's doing a good job. So she gives me my task. She's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. You need to start journaling more. Did you journal this week? Like, she gets on me about things that I need to be on top of. But Greg, I think I was seeing Greg before I got clean. I think I was, because I was on probation. And it was part of my probation to get a mental health evaluation or something. I don't remember. But he's really the one that broke it down for me, how childhood trauma and addiction go hand in hand. Yeah, so parents who use corporal punishment in the home, I want you to know that you're almost doubling the chances of your child getting on drugs when you use corporal punishment. When you beat and degrade and berate your child, and they're living on eggshells in fear of pissing you off, you're wiring their brain for addiction. Ask me how I know. It's sad. These things go hand in hand. Trauma and addiction. Focusing on early childhood development and parenting can prevent future addicts from being addicts. That's how we start. And then we need to treat the people that are already affected with the disease of addiction, who are out here in active addiction. So there's two parts to this. There's preventing children from developing the disease by parenting better, by not exposing them to things that are going to expose them to drug use and shit like that. I mean, I know it's really sad, but the fact is that a lot of addicts have children, and they're raising their children to be exactly like them. And, you know, it makes it much more difficult to get clean when you've been exposed to that kind of life, and that's the only life you've experienced. Those are the people I want to help the most, because that's all they knew. And I can't imagine what that's like. I never saw my parents drink or do drugs. They didn't need drugs or alcohol to be evil. That came naturally. But there's a lot of people out here suffering. And, you know, I've always knew that. I always knew that corporal punishment was the reason I was fucked up in the head. That's why I never believed in it. That's why I never used it. Because I knew from an early age that the way that my parents raised me was not right. I didn't care what anybody had to say. I knew it wasn't right. You can feel that shit when you're a kid, that something's wrong, that it's not, like, morally, you're like, this ain't right. Like, y'all teach me to believe in God. Y'all teach me to obey the 10 Commandments, but here y'all are slapping me around and using me as a fucking human punch bag. You can feel that that's not right. I mean, it's a complete contradiction, but that's how I was raised. Good afternoon, Adrian. Pena? Did I get it? Did I nail it? Y'all, what do y'all want to do? We need to throw away some trash. Ooh, and then I'm going to the mountain to go to bed. Ugh. It's been one of the days I ain't wanted to do shit. There ain't nothing to do when it's this cold. I still ain't made those window covers. I'll do it tomorrow. It's too cold to get out and start cutting cardboard. I need to order some real window covers, but they're freaking $150. I said, God, Advance Auto must be smoking crack now. Let me find out. And they'll probably last you damn 10 years, though, if you take care of them, you know. So it's an investment, but what do I need? Do I need anything? Do I want something? Do I want to go to the grocery store and grab some Coke? Do I want to grab a salad? I don't freaking know. Oh, God, y'all. There was another good addiction. I don't know. I guess she was kind of like a therapist. She was like she worked at, shit. So there was one time that I got methadone from Comprehensive Services of like Winston-Salem or whatever. And then I switched to Suboxone or something and I was on that. And there was a woman that worked in there, a little white girl. She was very helpful. And she gave me this book. And this was around the time that I was struggling to get clean. Like, it was right before I got clean. And I was also thinking about leaving an abusive situation completely for good. And she gave me this book. It's called Letting Go. And it wasn't long after that I got clean. A few weeks. Because I went back out to heroin after I tried the Suboxone and the methadone. And it didn't make me feel better. That was one of the reasons I couldn't get clean, was because they kept giving me this bullshit that would make me sick. And that's another thing. If a patient comes in and says that they want to be clean, let's get them fucking clean. Why are y'all so dead set on giving them big pharma bullshit? I'll tell you why. To make money. To make money. If you got a patient that says that they want to be completely clean and they got the time to do it, honey, that's what we need to be doing. Most people want the Band-Aid, which is Suboxone or methadone. But I don't understand why it was so hard for me to get clean. And I'm here to tell you that it was because the government was preventing me. They kept giving me methadone and Suboxone, shit that I didn't need. And once again, the Suboxone did help me. It got me through it. But it's a Band-Aid. I will say that I do like the fact that Suboxone cannot be abused if you are an actual addict. That is why it was a miracle drug, because of the ceiling effect. But I don't agree with giving it to DOC patients who are already, Department of Correction inmates who are already sober. That's so counterproductive. Every single one of those patients is going to relapse. Statistically speaking. It's just crazy. Makes me sick what our government can do. They've done some damn atrocious shit. I think that Suboxone can be a good drug for certain patients, but I think that they need to meet certain criteria. Damn. No. Maybe. It needs to be. There needs to be regulations. I don't fucking know. Not every patient needs that. And a lot of patients, it ends up holding them back. It did for me. Look at how much progress I've made in 4 fucking months in comparison to 4 fucking years. Think about it. October, November, December, January. 4 fucking months in comparison to 4 years sober. Look at the difference in me this time last year in comparison to this year. What's the difference? The Suboxone's out of my system. My brain is starting to heal. Shit, my spirit's starting to heal. What am I talking about? Everything's starting to heal, honey. I'm thinking for the first time in my fucking life, it feels like. I thought I was thinking last year. That was just being high off of being sober. But it wasn't until that Suboxone got out of my system that I started feeling differently about different shit, and I finally feel like I'm coming back into myself. So there's more to that Suboxone than meets the eye, because I physically feel it. emotionally, spiritually, mentally feel it. And I read somewhere that it causes depression. And now all the articles that I find online say the opposite. That's weird. It caused me to have depression. My depression, I would say that my depression has lifted probably around 50 this time last year. Y'all, we need to do these window covers. I was going to paint my nails and everything, and I didn't. I don't feel like it. I might do it tonight in bed so I can lay there and let them dry on my chest. It takes about an hour to dry. So, that's why I didn't do it. Fall asleep and then I am glad and proud of myself for not biting my nails anymore. I used to bite my nails down to the quick. I'm actually surprised. They look good. I just need to come up with a nail regimen, learn how to take care of them, paint them myself. Maybe one day I can invest in one of those little, one of you girls was telling me about it yesterday. It's like a little LED light or something. Well, I've seen the one that looks like a macaroon, but one of y'all said that Kiss or somebody makes a package that has the gel dip kit. I'm going to look into something, do my research, and find me one day a way to do my nails. If I do them on Sunday, they look good for the whole week. It's just finding the damn energy. I took an Excedrin and a Red Bull, and I'm still ready to go to bed. I got so much to do tomorrow. I got a 3-hour appointment at the damn school. I'm gonna be there half the day. I'm about to go jump back in the shower and shave my pits. Y'all. I got like a 40-minute drive. Feet out of position towards the runway of the airline flight. Now it makes sense. Y'all ever look at the sky at night and you can see the planes and you can see like the planes and you see how far apart they are? When I heard that Black Hawk ran into the American Airlines, I didn't understand how they could be that close together. And then when we read that report, it said that she was not only 100 to 400 feet too high, but she was also way off course, 1,000 feet to the right of the runway where the plane was about to land. She was like right there. Now it makes sense. Sad. I think one of the saddest things is knowing that this was a freak accident. This was a freak accident. Saying that they weren't on what the little things that make the bigger picture. In my opinion, experience comes with many years in a certain field. That experience comes with time, you know? That's just my opinion. We'll talk tomorrow. I love you guys. Pray for me. I'm praying for y'all. Bye, y'all.